Welcome to Les Arènes of Fakaw Paris for the biggest world chase tag event on the planet. This is the World Championship. 10 years after the very first World Champions were crowned, some team wins the title here in France this weekend for a 7th time. We've got 12 teams from across the world, 4 different continents represented. Some of the best world chase tag athletes we have ever seen fighting for the most prestigious title in the sport. I'm Dan Dawson. Alongside me is a 3-time World Championship winning coach in Connor O'Carroll. First things first, Connor, this is as big as it gets in this sport, isn't it?
Yes, welcome to Worlds. We are going to see some crazy stuff happening here today on the quad. We have an amazing roster of teams today. We got Group A, Group B. We're about to see Hollywood freerunners defend their title down. I am looking forward to seeing some crazy moves thrown down today on that quad.
Yeah, is group stages, and it's all going to take place on the quad behind us. You can see this 12-metre by 12-metre square of metal and wood, and it means that it's not straightforward for an evader to stay out of the way of the chaser for the 20-second period. If they do, they get a point. That's how World Chase Tag works, and it's most points wins at the end of a 16-chase match. You are going to see 12 matches this afternoon, but the big highlight is, of course, Hollywood Freerunners defending the title they won here 2 years ago, led by Amos Rendau, who's kind of the mastermind of this team, but they have got a star-studded roster. Carl Soderman, Kai Baldwin, who arguably is the best chase tag athlete in the world right now, Connor.
Yes, no doubt. Kai Baldwin obviously having his Night of Flight award, which is our MVP awarded prestigious athlete award after a world championship to see the best athlete at Worlds. He's won that in previous years. But we also have a star-studded roster throughout the whole team. And like you say, Amos Rendau, not just winning it for Hollywood Freerunner, but he has also been a world champion previously. So him being able to come here with Hollywood Freerunners, hopefully to get the 3rd world championship that particular athlete will try to achieve today.
Yeah, keep an eye out for Gabe Torres, a player who really has blossomed over the last few years in terms of this sport. It is not going to have it all their own way, though, Hollywood Freerunners. The biggest rivals they probably have in this group are the team nominally from Africa in Rooftop Kings. They're actually based in Rotterdam in the Netherlands. Their World Championship debut a couple of years ago did not go well, but they have made huge progress in the last couple of years. And they are the only side to beat Hollywood Freerunners in a competitive match since they won the world title, Con.
Yes, Radwan keeping a strong gym going in Rotterdam, but we've got lots of players on the team which could get it done. Teha, Dan Van Diesel, these guys are weapons when it comes to the quad. Great footwork. We're going to see some awesome stutter steps from these guys, I am sure. Some signature moves from each of these players. Yeah,
Liziano, or Largo as he's known, is a real powerhouse of a player. Bent van Hoff, basically the guy who sounds most like a what 3 words location. But it's not just those guys they've got to worry about. We've got other teams in there. Fata Morgana, they're an experienced lineup, Fata Morgana. They're playing in another world championship. They've been to the quarterfinals, they've been to the semi-finals. They surprised a lot of people when they first turned up. The only team from the Middle East when they first arrived, but they really have sort of bedded in to become, you know, a real dangerous team.
Yep, staple of the sport. They're coming here, they're getting it done. However, there are differences this time. I don't think they've had access in their practice run-up. Their training camp hasn't involved a quad. And actually, Dan, I'm going to say that will be a massive, significant difference to how they play today. We cannot be playing World Chase Tag in car parks. We need to find those obstacle-specific movements and drill those down.
Well, it's an interesting point you made, because one of the other teams in this group, it's 6 teams in each group. We're concentrating on Group A this afternoon. Quality movement from Sweden. They've played in a World Championship before, lost both their games 4-0. However, since then, they've got a quad. They are on it. They're running their own tournaments. It feels like they might be able to make some significant progress this time out, led by Victor Anderson, their captain.
Yeah, I mean, looking at those stats, they don't look good on paper. However, like you say, that's 2 years ago they competed in Worlds. Since then, holding their own chase-offs. And when Hollywood last came over to Europe, they were playing in Brent Cross, London. That same weekend, Quality Movement were busy squirreling away their own chase-off over in Sweden, getting stuff done, making sure they're practicing and getting all of the moves ready for their face-off against Hollywood when it comes to it. So this World will be really interesting if those two head up against each other.
Right, let's talk about Nimbus. This is a team that formerly was APK, American Parkour. They are guys we have seen before. They have played an awful lot of chase tag. Yes, they're a sort of settled lineup, but they're always bringing some innovation. And with the lineup that they've got with Frank Mejia, Mark Bowles, they've got some incredible individual athletes.
Yeah, loving to see what they could bring to this quad. I've seen Brother smash it out on the quad earlier on the practices, really working again on these threaded movements. What I like to see between the Americans and the Europeans, I see a lot more footwork with Europeans being able to use the open spaces better. These Americans, they are sneaky. They're going to be smashing through spaces you didn't expect them to be in, getting those Viper moments in, being able to dive between bars where you thought you were safe and get those tags where you least expect it.
And the last team to mention in this group, it is the home nation, the home city representation, Fakaw. Now, this is a really, really interesting one. They're from right here in Paris. They've got a whole load of players from academies, so the youngsters coming through in this ever-growing sport. But it's Esteban Noguera who's their captain, and he was very bullish last night at the press conference, not only about their chances, but about the chances of French teams in this tournament. And they really are backing themselves, particularly if they get support from the crowd, which is going to be pretty big over the course of this weekend.
Yep, no doubt. First time at Worlds for Fakaw. It's going to be a very exciting moment. First time at Worlds and on home turf. You can only suppose the type of fan involvement they're going to get. Building on that momentum, making sure that everyone's giving them their energy so they can run away with that win. I would love to see how they got on in this comp, but there are some notable matchups which I think might slow them down. Obviously, every team are going to play 4 matches today, their 5th and final match tomorrow. We want to see what Fakaw can do with those 4 matches in today's roster. Well,
look, let's show you what the schedule is, the order of play, because as you say, each team is going to play 4 games today. It's a 6-team group, so they play 5 games in total. They'll play 4 this afternoon, then they're back tomorrow night to play their final group game. Now, things could be sewn up because only the top 2 in each group progress to the semi-finals and then potentially the finals. Somebody like Hollywood Freerunners will be hoping they just power through their 4 games today with 4 outright wins and everything will be sewn up. It might not pan out like that. We're going to have to wait a little while to see Hollywood, their 3rd game on against Nimbus. Rooftop Kings, who we think might be their biggest rivals, they're only going to play in the 5th game. We're going to start with Nimbus versus Quality. But when you've got 12 matches like this, you're a former coach, Connor.
Yeah.
Getting the sort of managing the load of your players and maybe holding something back for the big games. That's going to be a strategy that we'll see the top teams use, isn't it?
Yeah, no doubt. They've got to make some decisions here. Now, obviously, in World Chase Tag, the statistics are very much against you. In any given chase, we've got a 30% to 70% rate of evasion. So you've only got 3 out of 10 chance to be able to get that evasion if you're playing well, depending on who you're playing against, depending how fatigued you are, depending on who you send against who. So things can change real quick, Dan. I'm not expecting anyone to hold back necessarily, but it would be a smart move to look at some load management and which players you're using for which matchups. You want to make sure you're getting your strongest player against their weakest player consistently to get that win.
Well, we're going to show you the table over the course of the afternoon. It is 3 points for an outright win at the end of 16 chases, 0 points if you lose. If it is a draw at the end of 16 chases, it is 1 point each, and then there'll be a sudden death chase off to get an extra bonus point. And that really could be decisive when determining who the top 2 in the group are, because it is only going to be the top 2 that make it through the group and into the semi-finals. But we are ready to go. The first game of the World Championship coming up, Nimbus versus Quality Movement, to start the biggest chase tag event in the world.
The night in major tournaments, they now get their hands on the biggest prize in the sport, and the addition of Kai Baldwin has proven decisive, Joe. There is the trophy about to be presented to Hollywood Freerunners for the first time in their history. They can call themselves World Chase Tag World Champions. Hollywood Freerunners are the best in the business, the best on the planet.
It almost feels like now everyone has a target on our back. Not as many people, I'm sure, are rooting for us, but the ones that are sticking with us, thank you.
I think they are the strongest they have ever been. They've slowly learned to not rely on Kyle as much, and I think this is the most well-rounded their team has been, which is a scary thing to think of.
But I think this year there will be a lot of changes.
Thank you for coming to this event. Thank you for putting your body on the line. And then, yeah, belt to ass.
It is looking good. He's got miles and miles and miles of space, and he's done that convincingly. And he goes over the system to the tilted cube. He's done it! He's done it! Hollywood Freerunners win the World Championship here in France.
Ça parle beaucoup, ça s'agite beaucoup, mais je crois qu'ils n'ont pas compris en fait. Ici c'est chez nous. Ici c'est pas.
Nimbus versus Quality Movement. In the blue corner, chasing first, Nimbus.
And so we are ready to go at the WCT7 World Chase Tag World Championship. And it's the Americans, Nimbus, who are first out onto the quad. We've already run through some of their players, but all of these guys have World Chase Tag experience. It is always an event to see this team play, particularly when you've got the likes of Mark Bowles and Frank Mejia. But they go up against Quality Movement, and this is a much more unknown quality. Yes, we've seen them before, but we haven't seen them after having 2 years of having their own quad and putting the work in. Do you feel, even as our expert analyst, Connor, that there are still some unanswered questions? You could be surprised by what you see in this opening game of the tournament.
Yeah, 100%. Quality Movement being away in Sweden, not having seen the American scene, not having trained as much with the Americans. We're going to see what they can bring here today. I am really looking forward to getting Matthias, Leon, and seeing what they can do in the comp under pressure compared to what they did in practice over the last few days. I am specifically looking forward to getting Quality Movement out of their 22nd rank in the world position. We're up against Nimbus, who are 13th in the world currently. Obviously on paper, that looks like Nimbus take the win. Let's see what they can do to make that difference.
Well, it looks like Matthias Hedvig is the man on the quad for Quality Movement. And it is Gabriel Payne, or Swerve as he's known, who is going to be the first man to chase. Starting in the center of the quad, Matthias. Tall, rangy man, as you can see. Usually lends itself to being an evader. Was that the buzzer? That is the buzzer. No, it's a false start. There we go. Well, we all got a little bit of nerves. It's the first one of the tournament. It's all fine. It's all fine.
The pressure Gabriel must be under on that chaser plate. We're getting ready for the beginning match of this tournament, and Gabriel is setting up. Nice deep breaths, keep calm, and when we're ready to go, we get it done.
Third time lucky for this one.
Les amis, désolé, c'est les aléas du direct. On peut les applaudir bien fort, s'il vous plaît.
Well, what we have established is that the buzzer works.
Very important stuff. Pretty sure the players work too, Dan. We're just getting some technical issues here, and once we're ready to go, these players are going to give it their all on the quad today.
Well, these teams have been here for a number of days building up to this, some of them having to get over jet lag from traveling from the other side of the world. They have been itching for this, and now, finally, we are underway. Logan sets off over the front line. Matthias down by the ridge, goes back to the loading bay, and he's trying to get out the way, but it felt like he was never in full control there, the evader.
Clean first tag there by Gabriel. Chaser being able to push him around the loading bay, get over those nerves off the chaser plate and make it happen. Well done there for Gabriel. Getting the first tag, he obviously gets the first opportunity now for Nimbus to get the evasion. Early on in the match is when we want those evasions. Let's see what Gabriel can do.
And in comes Charlie Murray. Probably the least sounding Swedish name in this Swedish team, but the most distinctive hairstyle as Gabriel goes round by the tilted cube. Charlie kind of crawling through that obstacle, going into the center to try and cut off the space, but Gabriel's too quick for him. He's under the ridge and under the mountain, and he's trying to get away, swings around the corner under the sisters. This is the first point of the World Championship. And Mr. Payne gets it done to put Nimbus in the lead.
And there it is, first one on the board for the Yanks. Gabriel getting that evasion clean as day. Charlie there needing to get back on his feet under the mountain. Went for a scramble and a scramble tag. Couldn't quite get Gabriel on the mountain. Couldn't recover from it. There's the distance. There's the evasion.
Athletes ready!
Well, interesting choice. As Gabriel stays on looking to double up. That's a nice little setup play, but he can't make the tag because they sent Matthias in again, having been out there on the opening chase. And it's over by the front line, makes his move and makes the tag at about 14 seconds in the end.
Yeah, great transition there from Matthias to go from the ridge, clear down to the front line and get to the ground to get the acceleration under his feet. That maneuver from the ridge down to the front line, quite hard. A lot of players do a huge jump, being able to get to the front line first, connected him to the ground even quicker.
First chance to see Logan Piner in action. And Matthias straddling the sisters, if you can imagine such a thing. Under the mountain he goes. Little look up to see Logan on top of the mountain, and a little bit of panic maybe. Oh, he might have used the sisters to get away, but then he turns around in open ground, and that's not going to work.
Dan, I thought Logan had him there. Really good highline work at the mountain, and then under the mountain again, a bit of a missed tag. We're seeing some patterns evolve here. Didn't quite get it, and there's some showboating there from Logan. Love to see it, getting the crowd on their side. Let's get into Chase 5.
1-0 Nimbus.
Well, Logan Piner perched on the tilted cube. Leon Brandt comes in after him. Hops over the sisters, round by the front line. Cannot hang around there for very long, but he doesn't, and he's hopping up onto the mountain and then into the tilted cube, turns around, and he just runs out the quad. He just runs out the quad.
And as we know, Dan, if we're evading and we leave the area of play, this quad, then we do not get any point. It is an immediate no contest tag, NCT, given to the player that was chasing. You escape, but you need to escape on the time, not escape on the area.
Nimbus.
Elijah van der Weifer comes in. Leon Brandt looking to get a point for quality movement and level up the score here at 1 apiece. He is the only person to get an evasion in official chase tag competition for quality, is Leon, and he's under the ridge. Goes back towards the loading bay, decides to go high over the mountain, drops down. Elijah's right there with him, reaches out and can't grab him. Gets a little bit stuck. Leon gets away. Surely it's a leveling point. Surely it's their first point. It was a jog in the end. I thought he's playing a dangerous game, but that is the first point that the Swedes have ever got at a World Championship.
And well earned. Amazing stuff here. Being able to get those tags in. Couldn't quite get it done on the tags under the mountain. Again, we're seeing this pattern that the tag is getting missed under the mountain each time. People ended up on their knees, not being able to get that dive and get that tag there. Great evasion by quality movement.
Here we go, it's fun time. It's fun time, Frankie Mejia. And he sets off. How do you get out of the way of this, man? How do you do it?
The aggression, the pressure, the intimidation, Frank's got it all. He speeds off that chaser plate and gets you far quicker than you think any moving man is possible, and that just puts you under that pressure to make mistakes. Unfortunately, couldn't quite keep the control. Stay calm under pressure whenever you can.
Well, in comes the number 24. It's Victor Nikama, one of the 2 Victors in this team. Yet to see the captain, Victor Anderson. Frank Mejia just stuttering around the base of the mountain. And oh, now he's gone out the quad. Loses his footing on those bars on the outside of the sisters, and that's game over.
NCT on that chase counts as a tag. Now Victor Nikamo managing to reset. Where will he choose to start his evasion opportunity? And there it is, a bit of protection under the ridge, keeping himself under some cover, and then he can always move back to the loading bay next.
Athletes ready!
First look at Mark Bowles here. Nimbus going through their roster as he gets up high onto the ridge, drops down but can't make the tag. And he's just trying to take that direct line to the tilted cube. Can't cut him off. Again, he's not quite there to cut him off at the corner. And off he goes, Victor, round the outside, up onto the sisters. Mark Bowles goes low, loses a bit of speed. Victor might put him in front, and the Swedes lead in front.
Victor for 2, he's celebrating on the evasion, but unfortunately here we do see a bit of an upset. It looks like there is an argument between Mark Bowles, thinking that he got that tag in the last second, and I think we are calling it. We are going to our first DTR, disputed tag review. Mark's called it. What this means for the viewers back home is we are reviewing video footage. Not me and Dan, we're just got random opinions. But the qualified referees are having a look through the footage right now, making sure to the second whether or not we've got this tag as a secure tag, or if Quality Movement have managed to get that 2 evasions on the board. This could be a game changer.
It could be. We might have a decision here. We're just waiting. In fact, we do have a decision. We were going to go courtside with Greg Ball, but I think we have a decision from our referee, Stefan. And the decision is evasion given, and the Swedes do lead. And in the very first game of this year's World Championship, we could have a shock on our hands.
There it is, Dan. Absolutely fantastic. Seeing Quality Movement, as I said, on paper, it looks like they lose every time, but this is a game of seconds and inches, and we're seeing them put that work in now to get that evasion.
And what that does mean, the extra little delay gives a bit more time for Victor to recover, to get his breath back. He's going to need it against Frank Mejia. Because in comes Frank, the man known as the Ocelot. Can you evade him? Not a lot. He's got a 90% tag rate, and he might be getting one here through the tilted cube, and he's all over him.
Yeah, and again, look, the pressure cannot be understated. When you've got someone covering that much ground, moving that rapidly and aggressively, you are under that pressure, and you might make a mistake. Not keeping his eyes on Frank is where that mistake was. He was trying to move faster than him. He wasn't trying to move where Frank was moving. You got to get out of the way of your chaser, not just move faster than them.
Quality Movement.
Athletes ready!
Well, in comes Brandon Sandon, originally from Australia, part of this Swedish team. Can he get hold of Frank Mejia and preserve the Swedes' lead? Look at the speed from Frank as he races around the outside over the sisters. This is turning into a race around the outside, hops through the mountain, under the ridge, all the way around. He's doing laps of the quad here. Make sure of his footing there. Tag claimed. Tag claimed. I think it's acknowledged by Frank.
There is a tag attempt. Again, very close to the end of this 20 seconds. We've got 20 seconds to make a tag. It is the chaser's responsibility to make that tag obvious. He thinks there was a touch there. Does Frank disagree? Let's see. Ooh, got a little bit of a finger wag there from Frank. Let's see what's going on over with the head ref. Johan has brought both athletes over to have a discussion on what's occurring.
Right, well, I thought Frank was acknowledging he'd been tagged, but I think you're right. I think he was saying no tag. It was a wag of the finger from little Frank. And this is important. This is either 2 apiece going into chase 12, or Quality Movement not only maintain their 2-1 lead, but they are on the quad looking to extend it. And we can actually go quad side now with Greg Ball, who's with Quality Movement.
Victor, you scored the second evasion over there in the first ever matchup here, and this is your first match in the World Stadium. How do you feel?
I feel amazing. I'm just happy to be here. This is amazing. I can't believe this is happening.
You're definitely excited, man. Look, we're about to get the decision now. So what does this mean to you guys if it gets a tag versus instant evasion?
If Frank stays, I think I'm going on. I think I have the energy.
Okay.
But if it's my mind doesn't working. I don't even remember.
If you're going to go on next as well, you go get ready. It's a pleasure. Thank you for your time, man. I'll speak to you soon.
There we go. A man whose mind is not working, being interviewed by a man whose mind also doesn't work most of the time. Thank you very much, Greg Ball. We are still awaiting a decision on this one. It is over the sisters where the tag was claimed. Now, from the footage we've seen, you can sort of see it on the screen there. It doesn't look obvious, and it has to be obvious. The tagger has to make it clear, and if it is not, it's very likely to be an evasion here, and it'll be 2 apiece.
Johan stepping up to the chaser plate. Head ref, Johan. What is it? What have we got?
It is an evasion, and we've got a level game. This is turning out to be a thriller. Frank Mejia saving the day, but there's still work to be done. Not slowed down by the vast array of accessories that he wears. He's a man who gets out of bed in the morning and dresses himself like it's Buckaroo. Just one more thing, Frank. Can he get one more point and put them back in the lead? They're 1-0 up and 2-1 down. It's 2 apiece. As Mejia climbs up and drops down for the top of the ridge. A little shimmy and goes across the quad. Under the sisters, down low. He does a lot of good work down low, but has he got the speed to get away? Might around the back of the ridge. Oh my days, Frank Mejia! That was unbelievable, and it might be decisive. Frank Mejia, that is unbelievable. This is game 1 of the tournament, and it's already insanity.
And I'm expecting him to run straight out the border there. I thought that'd be the 3rd time we see an evader just escape the quad, but he's managed to change direction outside of that high wall by the ridge. Crazy open juke there, a couple of tag attempts, but not one finger laid on Frank to be able to get all the way out and make that 3rd evasion.
Could it be a hat-trick for Frank Mejia? It's Charlie who comes in. And Charlie dives, and this time there is a tag, and Frank acknowledges it, and it remains 3-2 to Nimbus. We're in the final quarter of this game. Can Quality Movement, who really have stepped things up from their first World Championship appearance 2 years ago, find a way back into this game?
Played strong till now, Dan. Played very strong till now. We'll see what Charlie's doing. He's starting at the Sisters, unconventional starting place. Let's see what happens.
3-2. Nimbus.
In comes Elijah. He was evaded when we saw him earlier on. He cannot afford to be evaded again. Goes to the center of the quad, tries to flush him out, and he's lost his footing, but it's early in the chase. That is not terminal. Can he force another chance? Yes, he can. He grabs hold of it, nearly rugby tackles it as he heads off towards the Tilt-A-Cube. Nimbus still lead and may win in a moment.
And you might see, Dan, Elijah not just moving around the front line straight to the Sisters, but taking the center. This is this idea of center control, where from the middle, you can make the choices as a chaser, and you can push that evader where you want them to get the tag.
Nimbus. Athletes ready!
It's Matthias again. He started this game off for the Swedes. Can he help them turn it around right at the death? Elijah van der Vijver over the Sisters, goes round the front line. He has got pace, this lad. He has got pace, and he uses it to get over the mountain. Drops down by the Tilt-A-Cube, stops and turns back the other way. He's wasting some time here. It's a bit of a standoff, and he's wasting time and time and time. But there was just too much of it, and the tag is made, and there's still a lifeline for Quality Movement.
Yeah, good read there by Matthias. Nice work on getting through all of the trip wires that Elijah is setting up in the corner there. What that means is Matthias has got to the Tilt-A-Cube, then he slowly started shifting himself closer and closer and closer to that corner without making a big lunging movement, putting Elijah on the spot, putting him under pressure, and eventually getting the tag.
The one guy we haven't seen in this Nimbus team is Matthew Brother Watchman, who's sent in to close it out. He's fresh. Is he firing? He's trying to trap him in the corner. There's a swing and a miss. He thought about another swing but doesn't get it. Lost his footing. He's going to have to craft another chance, and he does do, and he reaches out and makes the tag, and that is an opening win for Nimbus. But my word, they had to work hard for it. 1-0 up, 2-1 down, and then back-to-back points for Frank Mejia has turned the game their way, Connor.
Like I said when this kicked off, we cannot count out a team just because of previous plays. These guys have been away for 2 years. Quality Movement have put up a hard fight. Nimbus did not expect to go up against such hard rivals this early on. Opening match, let's see how that works out on the table. We've got 3 points on the board for Nimbus, giving them the win, which allows them to get 3 points on the overall standings for this group.
Yeah, that is an outright win for Nimbus, so it is 3 points, 0 points for Quality Movement, and then there is a +1 evasion difference. Game 1 is done. We've got 11 more from Group A for you this afternoon, and we are going to rattle through these as much as we can, because coming up now, it is Fakaw versus Fata Morgana.
In the blue corner, chasing first, Fakaw. This is the local team, Fakaw. They're training every the
This is the home side in this group from right here in Paris, France. Esteban Noguera, their captain. These guys had a great showing at the French National Championships. They were superb in reaching the final, only losing out to Parkour 59, the back-to-back French champions who are in the other group here at World Championship. But Fata Morgana have experience of World Championship.
There we go, Dimitri, Lewis, Maxim, all of them coming in, knowing why they're here, knowing that they've done it before, coming into another world, absolutely calm, absolutely collected, stepping up to the mark and seeing what they can do to affect this game. They, I assume, think they're going to take these young bloods for a spin and just smash them here on their own turf. That is what I've seen behind the scenes. They've come in calm and collected and practiced nice and organized, whereas Fakaw, a little bit more of nerves, a little bit more pressure on them, a little bit more eyes on them from the home crowd. I want to see if they can perform well under pressure now and get it done in Paris.
Well, Fata Morgana, their main guys for evasions, are probably going to be team captain Dimitri and probably Staz as well. But keep an eye out for Luis Casas and Shai Turkiye. If they desperately need an evasion to protect a lead, do not be surprised if they go to Shai Turkiye over and over and over. These are serious, serious contenders. And it is going to be Shai who starts off
10 seconds.
as the evader.
Athletes ready.
Starting over by the ridge. Sets off. Goes by the tilted cube under the sisters, scrambling down low. Good center control, and look how quickly he struck there.
Luke descended from the sky like the bird he is. Fakaw managed to get that tag down by the front line. Great work there, calm and collected, getting in his recovery, getting his breath back. Each player will get 20 seconds of recovery in between their matches before the next one's ready to go.
0-all. Athletes ready.
Do beg your pardon, it's Shai coming in here as the chaser. Shai Turkiye. He is something of an expert at making tags, but can he force an opportunity here? He's claiming it, but he's got to carry on. You don't want to just wait, because if it is not given on the DTR, and that one might not be either, he's got to keep on trying to get more chances. It's a third attempt and he can't get there. And Shai Turkiye, he's still claiming the tag, but we don't know yet whether Luke Yan got away.
And Luke Yan's showing absolute dominance here. That quick little dodge, that juke that he had by the ridge. Here we go. He's going to jump in, telegraphs the chaser's movement, has a look at where he's moving, and then is able to juke out the way super quick. Great agility there, real good athleticism, and that might be what got him the evasion. We do have some dispute here, though, in the quad, and it does look like Shai thinks that he got that tag.
Well, he did the right thing by carrying on with the chase, because if he just stopped and let the timer run out and go, I definitely tagged him. If it is not clear on the video, then at least he gave himself more opportunities to get the tag. He did not manage to take those opportunities, and maybe he felt so confident that he made the tag, he felt he could go for a big Hollywood dive here or there. We don't know.
But then we've got to reiterate, whoever wins this decision, whoever's going to get it, whether it was the evasion or whether it was the tag, the person who's called the DTR is only going to have benefit from this DTR if a decision goes their way. Otherwise, they're just giving bonus time for Luke to recover more and more and more, and then do it all again and get another evasion next. So he's going to, Shai's really going to want this to go his way for Fata Morgana. Otherwise, he has called it unnecessarily, and he's given Luke even more time to recover, ready for that evasion coming up.
Well, understandably, Fakaw are all claiming the evasion, and there's a fair few French fans in here who seem to agree with them. Have we got a decision? It seems like we do. Maybe not. Maybe he's having another look. No.
Johan's made his decision.
Evasion given!
Evasion given, and there we go. Fakaw coming home with one evasion. First evasion from Fakaw on home turf. And we got Louis from Fata Morgana stepping up to try and break this momentum now. Luke has got fresh legs, fresh lungs, and he's ready to put it to use to try and double down on their winning streak.
Luis Casas drops down to the center of the quad, gets high up on the tilted cube, but then drops down. He's trying to find a way through, and he can't quite manage to do it, and there's a little start and a step. Has he got away with that? Has Luke Yan got away with that little maneuver by the sisters? He's not getting away with that one, though.
Both players looking at each other in their eyes, surprised that they can see each other. They're the sisters. And they're like, oh, you're here, I'm here. And then Luke's managed to get that bolt straight back to the front line and run through. Yeah, look at the surprise on Lewis' face. Oh, man, I didn't expect him to stop there. And then Luke's got back to the front line to get his legs under him, try and get that evasion. Lewis now stepping up for the evasion opportunity for Fata.
Antoine Crepin on the chaser's plate, wearing the hat. Luis goes under the mountain, looks back, sees the tilted cube. Oh, there we go. And that was a shove of a tag.
Great positioning there from Antoine too. He's got the intensity, he's got the speed, but he's also got the tactics, being able to mount the tilted cube to block off options for Luis. From that position on the corner of a tilted cube there, you cannot, as a evader, walk back the way you came because you're open from a tilted cube. Neither can you go towards the sisters. It is a block situation, and Antoine has done real well to get that positioning there.
Can he evade the team captain for Fata Morgana, Dmitry Domakov? Gets up high on the loading bay, drops down very, very quickly. And it's turned into a race across the quad. There's a dive through the ridge. It does not make contact. It doesn't appear to have done anyway, but he's on top of the mountain. Look at it drop down from a height, and it helped him build up some speed. And if he got the tag, it is a tag. If he didn't, he's out the quad, and it's an evasion. High risk, high reward.
High risk, higher reward at 19.57 seconds we got there on any second later, any microsecond later, and that tag would have been missed. Regardless of whether or not he got contact, the timer would have run out. Great attempts there. Dmitry now stepping up for Fata. He needs to equalize this earlier to get the points on the board for Fata.
Well, look who they've sent in. It's captain v captain, Esteban Noguera, trying to track down Dmitry, and he does do with relative ease, it has to be said.
There's no stopping such a large and formidable opponent as Noguera with fresh energy. He's coming in, he's done his warm-ups, he's done his shuttle runs, he's got all of that athletic prowess. These players are all training their training camp like track and field athletes to get to the Worlds this year and make a difference.
In comes Stas Nataliev, another one of the veterans for this Fata Morgana team. Esteban Noguera up onto the mountain, drops down into the center of it. It sort of felt like a premeditated move, and then Stas was just there to tag him easily.
Yeah, a bit of a chase pace issue there. Noguera trying to break the momentum of Stas, but wrong place, wrong time, not able to stop. Camping out behind these obstacles is fine, but you need to make sure you've got layers of protection. You can't just be on the corner there by the tilted cube. You're going to have to be a little bit deeper and make some options. Am I going to go right? Am I going to go left? Stas knew which way he's going to go straight away and got that tag at the back.
Roger Maurice Galaté stepping in for the first time. Reaching the halfway point of this contest. There's a reach out with a hand, it doesn't make contact. He bounces back up to try and force another chance, but Stas is off around the ridge as well. Is he safe there? No, he's going across the quad. Roger in close attendance. And Stas has been tagged and gone fully 15 feet out of the quad there.
Flying out of the quad. We are not seeing players retain their quad movement. This border is as big as it is, but it looks like they might need to get a little stickier shoes on them. We've got the Gorilla Glue sponsor over there, but I think they might need to get a little bit more Gorilla Glue on the soles of their feet, Dan.
Well, it does mean that Roger stays on. He's just catching a breather, just sat on the edge of the quad there. Round by the loading bay, shapes to go one way, then the other, and then he does decide to go off under the ridge. He doesn't want to hang around in open ground there, but he does stop with a little juke under the sisters, and his man struggles to stay with him here, and Roger might be extending Fakaw's lead. He's under the ridge, and it is 2-0 to Fakaw, and the home team fans celebrate.
Yuval not quite getting it done on the tag attempts there, but Roger is a formidable evader. It's that unpredictability that really gets you. It's not just about being fast in a straight line chase tag, it's being about cutting lines that you're not expecting, changing direction, getting that juke, and using the obstacles to your advantage.
Athletes ready!
Can Roger double up and put Fakaw on the brink of victory? He keeps on shaping around that loading bay, and he tries to juke away, and maybe he did under the mountain. There was a dive there, but I don't think it made contact. There's no tag claimed, and Roger is off. He's off over the front line, turns back around. Oh, it's a little hop away from him. And no, hang on, the referee says tag. The referee said tag there.
Tag made.
No, tag. The lights went green, but the tag must have come in on the ankle right at the death there.
Yep, head ref has got the final call. He's got his eyes on the clock, and he's got his eyes on the athletes here. If Johan says it was a tag, then we can forget the lightings. We got to focus on the head ref's result.
2-0 Fakaw. Athletes ready!
False start, false start. Quick little reset. No penalty for a false start other than extra time given to Maxime to recover. It doesn't work for Fakaw's advantage here. Antoine stepping back up. He's on the chase plate. He's ready.
10 seconds.
Antoine Crepin looking to preserve their 2-point lead. Looked like it was going to be 3 a moment ago, but it could be halved in a moment. Antoine steps up. Sure-footed movement, hops up onto the tilted cube, shapes one way, but Maxime swings around by the lazy boy there. He just about gets away under the sisters, lost his footing, but has he recovered now? Over the sisters this time, racing around the front line. He's going to be cut off in the corner, and he is cut off in the corner. He can see where he's going. He took the direct route, Connor.
Yep, barely started trailing him. As soon as he got to push him to the front line, he knew he wasn't changing direction. He looked at Maxime's change in acceleration and how fast and pressured Maxime felt he was as an evader, and he made a decision. Antoine blindly just then diving in between that gap between the ridge and the front line and getting the tag there at that loading tray.
Antoine Crepin, can he extend the lead for Fakaw? The French team in this group. Dimitri goes through the loading bay but does not make contact. It's a hop up for the man known as Scantag onto the front line. He's kind of been done by the same maneuver that he used in the previous chase.
Yeah, so as these athletes are going to get tired down, we're going to see their patterns get more static. They're going to rely on what they know. That body movement and the muscle memory is going to stick in. He's already ran the front line to get the tag, and now he's trying to use exactly that same movement to get the evasion.
Athletes ready!
Well, Fata Morgana aren't in danger of losing just yet, but it could be very, very close in a moment. Esteban Nogueira trying to go after his fellow captain, Dimitri Domakov, and he's into the loading bay, and it's over the ridge for Dimitri, and he knew the tag was coming, and it did, and it remains 2-0, and now Fakaw can either win it in this chase, or if they're tagged, Fata Morgana must produce back-to-back evasions just to force sudden death.
So already into that match point situation, Fata Morgana really up against it here. Are going to need to pull out the big gun. Shea is going to have to get to Captain Esteban and get him in this match. Get that tag down, or else they lose this match.
Well, so often it's Shai Turkir that Fata Morgana turn to when they need a tag, but they need a tag and then 2 evasions back-to-back. It's not quite mission impossible, but it is mission improbable. And just getting hold of Esteban, who just hangs around off the edge of the sisters. And look at that, my word, my word! That is the gazelle running around the lion's mouth and still getting away! Arms spread in victory!
And the crowd go wild. He's taking a little lap. He's into the audience. Look at Esteban smashing out. First game in the Worlds. First win, first time at Worlds for Fakaw. I couldn't be more happy for him. Look at Captain Esteban celebrating here. He's got more matches for the rest of the tournament. They haven't quite taken the trophy, but I have a feeling this will feel just as good for him, starting off strong as it will if they go further into this tournament tomorrow.
What a way to win it for the Parisians. The team captain with an insane and ludicrous evasion to seal a 3-0 win.
See that cover he got under the front line, just straight underneath the guy's feet. Might as well nutmegged him in football, you know?
He really has nutmegged a man to win a match. But now, it is time for game 3. Nimbus are back on the quad, but perhaps more importantly, it is our first chance to see the defending champions, Hollywood Freerunners. Nimbus were put through the ringer by quality movement in the opening game of the tournament. They won it, but they only won it by 3 points to 2. This will be a very different proposition, because here come the defending champions. Kyle Soderman, Carson Palmer, Amos Rendell, Gabe Torres, Grant Kinningham, a new recruit, and Kai Baldwin, last World Championships MVP, the night of flight. What are you expecting from Hollywood in this one, Connor?
Look, we got state-on-state violence here. We got an American versus American matchup. I do not know what I am about to see. In practice, both of these teams had very different entrances. Both of them were looking at their method and how they train very differently. I'm going to see some unexpected starts from Nimbus and some weird, unexpected movements, I'm hoping, from them. As far as Hollywood are concerned, they've got some crazy movements down, and being able to read players, I think, is their MO. This team are really good at looking at what the opponent's doing, matching it, and being able to adapt in the moment.
Well, we talked about teams potentially holding something back for later in the tournament. Nimbus don't have that option. They have to go all guns blazing here.
Athletes ready!
Because if they can beat Hollywood, as the defending champions get their title defense underway, if Nimbus could beat them, it will change everything in this group. Gabe Torres moving one way, then the other on the mountain, bounces off the ridge. The man in the hat, Benny Hilling around the loading bay, and then it's turned into a race around the outside, and Gabe Torres is quick. Gabe Torres is very, very quick. Is he too quick? He might be too quick. Tag given. The ref on this side is given the tag.
Logan did real well to be able to keep up with Gabe's quick movement there. Starting up high, crazy starting position for Gabe, and being able to get out of that position. Might have been that they threw a bit of a wild card in just to put a bit of pressure on from an evasion point of view, get an early evasion on one of their more crazy strategies, but Logan now stepping up to the ridge for an evasion opportunity for Nimbus.
Kyle Soderman, he is back, and he is hungry to show what he can do. One of the stars of this sport, ruled out by injury, nearly injured himself there, but he still managed to get through down to the tilted cube and made the tag. Unfortunately, doesn't look like he did himself any damage there as he lost his footing.
Yeah, quick foot slip on the way down from the mountain. I wasn't sure if he wanted to stop on the bar there or on the mountain side, but keeping his eyes on his opponent, not on his footwork, obviously is paramount. We need to trust that the feet are going to land in a safe position, and he had that adaptability there not to hurt himself too much before this evasion opportunity.
Kyle Soderman is an incredible athlete, he's an incredible tagger, but it's his evasions that make him such a powerhouse in this sport. Drops down underneath the sister, Elijah can't find him. And again, there's a little stop and a halt. A stop and a halt again. Tries to use his power and his pace, and he jumps on the ridge, and there's a reach up from Elijah. He has nearly vaulted Elijah and the ridge, but doesn't get away with it.
Second ridge mount I've seen here, Dan, coming in from the loading bay, the back of the quad there, and using that high wall off of the border, up off the high wall, and then ridge mounting. I think this is going to be a beta we're going to see a fair bit of in this tournament. Wasn't successful there, but we might see it come up a little later.
So you see off Soderman, and then in comes Kai Baldwin. This is what makes this team so dangerous. It is threat after threat after threat, and Kai Baldwin, the Australian, hopping up and down, trying to get hold of Elijah van der Vijver, gets into the loading bay, flushes him out and gets him before he makes his way over the ridge.
Not a moment to spare. Elijah feeling like he's being chased by his own shadow there. Kai sticking to him the whole way around the quad and being able to pressure him out of that loading bay. That was his signature move there, the spider, being able to get those feet inside that inside bar of the loading bay to break down the barriers and get him closer to the evader to secure that tag.
Gabriel Payne comes in for Nimbus. Is this a plan? Is this who they wanted to go after Kai? Goes up high, it's a big route, and he manages to hop out of the way of the swinging arm of Gabriel Payne. And it's bought him time. 12 seconds gone. Kai Baldwin hangs around on the mountain, hops up down into the tilted cube. He's got away around the outside of the sisters. Gabriel Payne is claiming the tag. He stopped chasing. I'm not sure he'd had enough time to get another chance anyway, but it's going to be another DTR. Did you see any contact, Connor?
Contact would have been hard to see in between this tilted cube. It looked like a slide. It looked like a miss as far as I was concerned. However, earlier on, that first tag attempt on the front line, you cannot afford. He had a moment to get him here, didn't get him, and he could have, on the front line there, kept him in the open.
Well, that is a tag given right at the death there. So, tag given, it remains 0-0. Kai Baldwin unable to get a first point for the defending champions. Gabriel Payne stays on. But in comes Carson Palmer. Yet another threat.
Athletes ready!
Gabriel Payne from Atlanta, Georgia, hopping around by the ridge, decides to go around the front line. Carson Palmer staying on the front line and staying up high, and it gave him a vantage point to drop down and make the tag before he got away around the corner.
Gabriel, look, fast, athletic, not keeping his eyes on his opponent though. You can be sprinting, but you need to know where Carson is to be able to adapt and then be able to make different moves. Otherwise, the quad is only 12 by 12. Carson, if you're not keeping your eyes on where Carson is, you're going to run into a corner and Carson's going to be there ready for that tag.
Logan Piner coming in to face Carson Palmer, who's been one of the more recent recruits for this Hollywood team, and it does feel like being part of this team has leveled him up in his skill set and his strategy. And he, lovely foot placement to use the bars on the outside of the sisters to go all the way around the outside. Logan Piner staying in the center and trying to find an opening, but he's not finding one at the minute. Into the loading bay, and there's a jump. It drops down into the mountain. Round the sisters again, and Carson Palmer puts the defending champions into the lead.
So look, again, as I said as they walked in, Hollywood Freerunner, it's not about any particular strategy, it's about the adaptation. When they're on the quad, they've got these different continuums, these different routes, but it's about mixing it up in that route to keep people guessing. Even there, Carson mixing himself up and almost taking a bail in between the mountains, but that's what it took to get him away from his opponent and get that evasion.
Frank Mahir sent in to try and get hold of Carson. There's a little slip of the foot, but he just does not let it stop him. He keeps on going. Look at him go through the tilted cube, and Carson somehow staying out of the way, but he couldn't keep doing that. He was dicing with death, and ultimately death wins.
Saving Frank for when you need him is a good move there by Nimbus. They've run through most of their roster at this point. Frank being able to secure that tag and hopefully now get that evasion to level the playing field. 1-0 doesn't sound like a lot, but you got to remember, this isn't football. We're not looking at 6, 7, 8 scores. 1 or 2 is how we might end up winning this whole match.
Carl Soderman comes in, trying to get hold of Frank Mahir, and he just takes a tumble, and he's all right. I mean, he's managed to style it out very nicely, but he was never getting a point after that.
Yeah, great recovery there on the tilted cube, but Frank getting up off the floor, hopefully he's all right. He'll get back to his team, he'll check out his body, but Kyle's got more things on his head right now. Again, there's that deep, classic breath, trying to reset the central nervous system, get himself ready for the next chase.
Nimbus send in Brother. They saved him right to the end in their opening game, but they feel they need to use him now to get hold of Carl Soderman, and he just sort of slaps the bar there, Brother, to try and get his man out of that spot. What's his plan here? There's more sort of standoffs, more dueling, but Carl Soderman over the front line. It's another tumble! And I believe that is our first perineum tag of the World Championship.
Great jitters there by Kyle, seeing him really use that quick footwork round the back of the loading bay and even unconventionally stopping and stuttering on top of the mountain there. Looks exposed, but the Nimbus player had no way to get him.
1-0, Hollywood Freerunner.
They are hanging on in there, Nimbus here. They only trail by 1. Gabe Torres, a man who prepares for chase tag by dancing in the dark of parking lots. And Brother thinks about going under the sisters, stops, they just stared at each other for a bit, and there's a bit more staring, but Gabe Torres, talk us through that, because that felt like he knew what was going to happen before it happened, Gabe Torres.
Trying to read your player again, this is what the observation of Hollywood Freerunner really does. They are looking to see footwork, they're looking to see a little bit left, a little bit right. It's micro-positioning, trying to force the evader out of the strong position to take that advantage, and as a chaser then descend to get the tag.
Gabe Torres starting by he's running directly towards him and then thinks that's probably not the best way to go, and ultimately it turned out not to be because Gabriel Payne made the tag quite quickly.
High risk, would have been high reward to kill a little bit of extra time and have that unexpected sort of mind game to play with Gabriel, maybe put him off his A game. Unfortunately in this case, Gabriel was not fazed by it in the slightest. Gabriel Torres getting sent off there, and Gabriel Payne not being fazed by any of this and being able to set up at the sisters.
Kai Baldwin back into the action, yet to see Amos Rendau, yet to see the new recruit Grant Kinningham. But Kai Baldwin, look how he moves, well, he's moved into a bar there, but he does not let it deter him. And he spiders through the tilted cube and he reaches out and makes the tag.
And that spider made the difference. You saw that, Dan. The amount of fluidity he's got around these bars means he's not even slowed down by a corner. Gabriel Payne taking that corner around the tilted cube, thinking he's got all of the cover of the tilted cube behind him, and then all of a sudden, whoop, Kai is able to scoot his way straight through those bars like they're not even there, cover the distance and get the tag under the mountain.
This is match point for Hollywood Freerunners, the defending champions. Elijah van der Voiver has already tagged Carl Soderman in this game. Can he tag Kai Baldwin as well? That is a couple of oh my word! He hasn't just tagged him, he's tagged him in about 5 seconds.
Elijah getting that tag is all well and good. Getting it quicker is even better. This allows him a little bit more chance to recover in this second. Oh, there's a little bit of love shown on the chaser play. And I don't think Elijah can start there. I think he can start anywhere he likes, but I don't think he'll want to start there.
Yeah, he's changed his mind, but he's
good.
still very close. Elijah van der Voiver, if he evades, the worst that could happen for Nimbus is sudden death. He could yet win it with back-to-back evasions, but he's going to have to evade Carson Palmer here, and he's on the chaser's plate. That's all right. That's still inbounds. He's shaping one way, then the other. Carson dives through, and that is the tag. And that is the end of the game. Hollywood Freerunners win their opener, but only by 1 point. That's enough, Connor, but how did you feel about their performance?
I don't think they showed us all their cards yet. I think they played that one fairly safe. Once they got the 1-0, it's a matter of, okay, let's let Gabe Torres try a couple of weird beaters. Let's see what happens with Kyle, but not show everything yet. I think they've still got some surprises in store for us. They are the defending world champions after all, and they have been working hard over these last 2 years to develop some strategy, some tactics to bring to WCT7 to take that win.
Right, can we show you what that does to the league table? Let's bring in the league standings. So Fakaw with that big win. The evasion difference is what's settling it. Now you've had a look at the table, you can see the winners. Fakaw, Hollywood Freerunners, Nimbus have a win there. We're yet to see Rooftop Kings, but coming up now, Quality Movement and Fata Morgana back in action.
It's the second match for the night. They lost their first match. We need to get good performance on this one.
Well, Quality Movement frustrated in that opening game. They were impressive, significantly more so than they were when we saw them in their World Championship debut 2 years ago. They led against Nimbus, only to be beaten 3-2. And bearing in mind, we've just seen Nimbus run Hollywood, the defending champions, close. This group might be closer than we expected.
Yep, especially up against Fata Morgana. We're expecting good things from an old school team. They've got the foundation, they've been here before, they've been under pressure, but it looks like Quality Movement aren't phased by the lights, they aren't phased by the pressure. Worlds is going better for them than ever expected, so hopefully they can run that momentum, keep the hope up, and be able to perform at their best. If both teams perform at their best, we're going to see some crazy chasers here in this match 4 of the Group A WCT7 World Championship.
Well, look, they've come here. They've managed to get their first evasions at a World Championship already, Quality Movement, in their first match. Could they get their first win here? It is Maxime Mirozny who will start things off as the evader. And Leon Brandt, who managed to pick up that historic first evasion for the Swedes, is trying to chase him down, goes round the outside of the loading bay, can't make contact, tries to cut him off, but doesn't really take a direct route. And Maxime drops down, but Leon just maintained the height, and it was just a case of when he wanted to make the tag.
Yeah, as an evader, keeping out of that center unless you've got a nice bit of distance between you and Chaser. Keep your eyes on where that Chaser is, and if he's close to you, really hard to cut the corner into the center, because as you see, there's no obstacles in the center, Dan, and that is going to make it harder to have cover on this 12 by 12 meter quad.
0-all. Athletes ready!
Can Leon get a point for the second game running? He goes under the ridge and the tag is made.
Nice bit of pressure out there by Staz, being able to get up onto the mountain table, pressuring Leon back past the loading bay, and then there is that nice little pinch point between the loading bay and the ridge. We're going to see a lot of tags here this evening. We want to see him get the recovery now, Staz that is, for Fata Morgana, and then hopefully now get the evasion off the back of that tag.
Charlie Murray, you know him by the hair. Staz shimmies away, hops over the sisters, looking over his shoulder, making sure that he spots his man. And now he has to use some speed, and he did look over his shoulder there and found Charlie Murray right behind him. And he looks like a cheater. He produced similar pace for a moment there.
There it is, and tailing seems to be the name of the game for Charlie there. There wasn't much cutting, there wasn't much inside or center control. He is just following Staz around the quad and trying to gain ground on every corner turn. If you can do it faster than the evader, you will eventually catch up to them if they do nothing different. Staz needed to mix it up there, Dan.
Well, it can work. It's not necessarily the most efficient way of doing it. How is Dimitri going to approach this one? He does go to the center and tries to cut off an angle. And in the end, oh, he doesn't make the tag by the front line. It's over the mountain while Charlie goes low. And he gets into the tilted cube. And that one looked like a real body shot to himself, courtesy of one of the sisters.
Exactly that, and there we go. Dimitri getting one angle cut on the front line, and then again up onto the mountain to descend into the tilted cube, cutting a little bit of space, not just following Charlie under the mountain, but choosing the high line to descend into the tilted cube, cut off where Charlie's gonna be, not where he was.
Athletes ready!
Dimitri starting by the sisters, just on the outside on those bars, which weren't originally on that obstacle. But he pushes off and goes round the front line over to the ridge, and he's going all the way around the quad as Branda makes the dive through the tilter cube. Does not look like he's made contact there, and time is ticking away. We're in the last 3 seconds of this. Dimitri might be putting Fata Morgana into the lead. The lights go green, and the Israelis lead by 1-0.
And there it is, Dimitri managed to get the first point on the board for Fata there. He is a staple of evasions for the team. I've seen him play multiple matches, and always he pulls through to be able to get the best of the best and get that evasion. Not even facing the chaser on the chaser plate right now. How's he going to start this one?
Matthias up onto the top of the ridge. He can't descend onto Dimitri, who goes over the sisters, and again he's going around the outside, goes low, and he just jumps to try and get out of the way of the sort of slide tag. It didn't quite work, but you can see the thinking.
Yeah, nice try there from Dimitri, but being able to step off the quad, and Matthias getting ready there at the back of the loading bay, resetting, getting in that recovery, and getting ready for Shay to get that chase. Again, Shay, great tag, great. All the way up, being able to get onto the quad now. Matthias has got to get some work done.
Shai Turkiya into the action. And he goes through the mountain, and Matthias, he nearly made a mess of that. Can he get away? No, it just felt like... if you make a mistake like that, do you panic a bit? Is it difficult to retain your equilibrium?
Super hard. We've got to get off the floor. We've got to try and figure out how not to stumble. But if a stumble's going to happen, your hand's your best friend. You can grab the edge of the bars, pull yourself up, pull yourself back into that change of direction, and get back onto that acceleration. Hard to get out of your head, though. Stumbles cost matches.
Can Shai get it done here and extend Fata Morgana's lead? Going around the outside of the sisters, seeing that used a lot, those bars there, allowing players to push off and get some speed up quickly. But Matthias descends and makes the tag before he gets over the mountain.
And you might see again Matthias doing the cuts, doing the holds. He's able to get to a position where he... Oh, we've seen Matthias now on the floor. Head ref is over to check him out, and it looks like we do have the first injury. Medics on site to check out Matthias.
I think we've got a bit of claret, so there's some blood on the quad for the first time this weekend. It may not be the last time either, so they're just going to check him out, Matthias. Now, because he's made the tag there, and he is going to have to stay on and evade, we'll see, hopefully, that the injury is not too serious, and that he's able to do so. But were he not able to continue, then it's just going to count as an automatic tag.
In the event, exactly. It counts as an NCT, no contest tag for Fata Morgana, and they then get one skipped round to be able to move forward into the next chase. And then it will be Luis as an evasion opportunity, as if he tagged him, as if the match had gone ahead, depending on if he can get back on to the quad in the next few seconds. Medics, obviously, is a priority. His health, the medics are going to check him out first, make sure the athlete is good before we move forward into the next chase.
Well, he's being led away to be looked at by the medics. They're obviously got to then clean the quad and make sure that it is dry. You don't want any wet patches on that quad. It is quite grippy as a surface anyway, but any sort of deviation from that could cause a problem. But it is advantage Fata Morgana, because in will come Luis Casas for a non-contested tag, it would appear. So we'll skip on a chase. Fata Morgana already lead by 1.
There we go. We're being called now. We're going to go forward into a no contest tag is being called. And we've got our correspondent Greg down on the floor. We're going to go to him and see what the situation is down on the quad.
Yeah, and just a quick word from the manager of Fakaw. Now, you guys won the opening match here at WCT7, but you've got Hollywood next. How are the boys feeling?
Oh, good, very good. We were counting on putting this 3 points to try to show the world, like, okay, Fakaw is here. We want to put some rivalry. So yeah, we are really happy about this, and we're going to keep going. And actually, with the conference yesterday, I was trying to get into the mind of Amos. I hope it worked.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. We're about to go back on, but thank you for your time, man.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. You will be seeing Fakaw again quite shortly, but we are about to see this one resume because a no contest tag means that we are now on to chase 10 of this one. Fata Morgana lead 1-0, and Luis Casas, who's not had to make a tag, he's not had to expend any energy, he is hanging around by the ridge, waiting to go.
So we're moving on to chase 10 now, Dan. Chase 10. So we skipped that chase for a no contest tag. We're imagining Louis got the tag, and now he is stepping in to the ridge for his evasion opportunity. Already one up. Let's see what they can do to make the difference.
Victor Nicamo, and he comes, and obviously, unless his teammate Matthias makes a quick recovery, they are down a man for the rest of this one as they try to turn things around. Luis shaking and shimmying and going around the front line. Under the ridge he goes. Victor slides through the loading bay, does not make contact, and we are running out of time here in the last couple of seconds. He has to make a move now. He has to make a move now, and he did not make one. And if you don't make a move, you won't make the tag.
And there it is, 2-0 to Fata Morgana. Louis making it happen and being able to get that evasion down. Just couldn't cover the distance. Quality movement didn't have an answer for Luis's movement there, being able to get all the way around the quad, full lap, and then unfortunately they have missed those tag opportunities. The Fata are now 2-0.
In comes Charlie Murray. Is this going to turn into another chase where he just tries to outpace his man, or is he going to try and cut him off? And he does cut him off, and that's a much more intellectual tag than the brute force of running around the outside, right?
Yeah, civilized tag, that's what we look at there. He's managed to jump into the loading bay, play the duel, play that little standoff situation where one player is thinking, oh, do you go left, do you go right, do you go left, do you go right? And he's looking for footwork there, deciding to make a mistake by putting pressure in. Charlie's already very close. Luis had one opportunity really to run away, and he fumbled that to get the tag.
Dimitri, team captain, back in for Fata Morgana. They have a 2-0 lead as they look to pick up their first win of this one, and it is moving closer.
And there we go. We talk about no contest tags. Charlie's put his hands up like, yep, 100%, got me. Fair enough. Let's see what Dimitri can do. He's got a 2-0 lead at this point, Dan. I'd be looking at defense for Fata Morgana. I wouldn't need the extra evasion. I'd just make sure we are spending some time on the quad to make sure quality movement don't get any more.
This is match point. If Dimitri evades, it'll be a 3-0 win with 3 chases to come, and obviously the Swedes would not be able to turn that around. Dimitri staying up high, nearly losing his footing as he drops down to floor level. Up onto the ridge for Brandon, but he gets tangled up, and Dimitri's built up some space. He's built up some space, he calls back under the sisters! Oh my word, he is tagged. The clock stopped at the end on 19.99. I think it was about half a second quicker than that, but the tag did get made.
And now the pressure is on. We've got a game on our hands, Dan. Quality movement have the opportunity to turn it around, but what an uphill battle. They have the toughest job on planet Earth here, being able to get that evasion, and then another one back to back.
Yuval Salah into the action, the number 12. And he gets hold of Brandon, and that brings an end to the contest. 2-0, Fata Morgana win it. They bounce back after their 3-0 defeat to Fakaw in their opener. Fata Morgana have points on the board. A little bit more impressive, perhaps frustrating for quality movement, Connor, after putting up such a fight in game 1, not quite threatening the same way.
Yeah, it breaks their tournament momentum, but they've got to remember, Fata have been here before. They have played hard in previous World Championships. They've got to semi-finals in World Championships, Dan. They are a strong team. I had them pegged down under my predictions to take this on paper as the favoured team, and the favoured team did walk away with a 2-0 lead.
Okay, so what's that do to the standings then? Let's show you the table. Fakaw still on top. Hollywood Freerunners also 1 win out of 1. Nimbus and Fata Morgana and Quality Movement have all played 2 games, but the team arriving now is Rooftop Kings playing their first game of this year's World Championship. Nominally from Africa and Morocco. A lot of the players have Moroccan heritage, but they are pretty much all based around Rotterdam in the Netherlands, where there is a quad. They are the only team to have beaten Hollywood Freerunners since they became world champions, and they believe that they can beat them again in the group. You will see them go head-to-head with Hollywood later on in the session, but how strong can they start here against Nimbus, who are heading onto the quad for the 3rd time already this afternoon, with Rooftop Kings yet to play. Is that going to be a factor, Connor?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if you've already done the work, we have got to worry about conserving that energy across the tournament. And here they come in. Nimbus, strong team for World Chase Tag 7 here. We've already seen what they can do. We've got Frank pinballing himself around the quad. We've got Gabriel showing what he can do, not just as an athlete, but as a competitor here. Elijah, brother, strong team. Let's see, we got some nice camaraderie here, saying hello to the other team members. And I am really excited, Dan, to see what Rooftop Kings can bring to this comp.
Well, this is going to be really interesting because a lot of people are expecting Rooftop Kings to go through from the group to the semi-finals behind Hollywood Freerunners. But if Nimbus were to win this one, then that might change things completely. It feels like a very, very important game. They're all important games as a group phase, of course. But Logan Piner sprints off towards the mountain at the start of the buzzer.
Just an update on the injury, Thomas, for the commentary team.
Bent Van Hoff gets hold of him and keeps it at 0-0 after the opening chase.
Yeah, nice clean tag there. Bent Van Hoff setting up by the ridge. He's been able to go and set himself up, ready for that evasion opportunity. But Mark Bowles stepping up for the chaser plate for Team Nimbus there. Bit of worry on Bent, so let's see what he can do.
Matthias caught his finger underneath the fucking perimeter. He snapped it completely. The knuckles are exposed. He's going to have to go to hospital for stitches.
Mark Bowles starting things off here by flushing him out from out the ridge. Bent hopping up high onto the mountain and then back down towards the sisters. Mark Bowles not striking. There's a little loss of footing maybe, but it's not stopped him. He's going round the outside, under the mountain, round by he drops out the quad. He very, very nearly got away with that. If he just hung in the air for another fraction of a second, that might have worked.
It might have worked if Mark Bowles wasn't also in the air with him. It looked like there might have been a little bit of hugging in the air. Both players jumping out, deciding, you know what, let's take this outside.
The lights went green there, immediately went red. Ben Van Hoff nearly with something spectacular to get the first points of this one. Mark Bowles falls to him to see if he can get the job done, but it's team captain for Rooftop Kings, Red One, who's into it. Red One Yaku goes under the mountain and ankle taps it.
Looking out for those little ankle snaps, being able to get in the hands where the trailing foot is. If you are running, the last thing that is behind you is that foot, and Red One's got his eyes on your little toesies. He'll get you there.
Turn seconds. Chase 4. Rooftop Kings evading. 0-all.
In comes brother. Been used pretty sparingly so far by Nimbus. It's their third game of the tournament. Red One, the team captain, hopping through the mountain by the loading base, shaping to go one way, then the other again. Brother trying to find a way through. Hops up onto the sisters, decides to cut off that pursuit. And now he's pursuing, tries to cut the corner again, and he reaches out and touches him. And what a study in patience that was. But before I bring you in, Connor, we're going to go to Greg Ball, who's backstage with update for the injury we saw earlier.
Thanks, Dan. So I've just seen Matthias backstage in the medical room. He's exposed his knuckles, and unfortunately he's going to be going to hospital to get stitched up. So that's all that we're going to see against him today, man. Unfortunately, these things happen though, Dan.
Okay, quality movement down by a player for the rest of the tournament. Is that a cheeky little wink from Greg Ball? Disgusting behaviour. Matthew, starting by the ridge. Oh, a little stutter step and then under the ridge and round by the front line. Can he make this count? Hops onto the sisters, hangs around by the tilted cube. There's a reach and a tag, and I think the second one got him in the end.
Yeah, Taha getting a nice bit of pressure in there, pushing brother in and getting that tag down by the sisters. Matthias, Dan. That's crazy. You hate to see it. A finger out for quality movement. This tag being made for this tag obviously being made in the last match, but hopefully Matthias will be fine, recover up that finger and be back in the next tournament.
He could even be back for tomorrow for the final group game. You never know. Logan Piner jumping on top of the ridge. Gave him an option, didn't choose to take it. Now he's got options, and now he takes that one. And Taha is comprehensively taken out.
Yeah, Logan having a real good ridge game there and showing off a little bit of his mountain prowess. I see a lot of these Nimbus players being able to clear that mountain bar with a special little technique. It's like a weird little hurdle dive where they go chest first. And not only did he flush him from the ridge real well, he's deciding to start his evasion attempt in this really unorthodox position.
Starting on top of the ridge, bent into the action again for Rooftop Kings. Oh, wow. Well, he nearly sort of like jumped back. He nearly went out the quad, but ultimately he was tagged, and we are yet to see a point in this one.
Yeah, nice little snipe tag there, right on the finger, being able to catch out that last trailing hand when you are maneuvering around these obstacles. If you've got your hand on a bar and the chaser is after you, they are looking to get that hand touch, and that is the snipe tag there.
Elijah van der Vijver into the action. We're reaching the halfway point of this game. Yet to see an evasion. Are we going to see one here? We nearly saw a very quick tag, but Bent managed to get away over the mountain. Now by the Lazy Boy. Hop over the top of that, and he goes down, but he's already made the tag, Elijah. It remains at 0-0.
Yeah, fantastic acceleration. Being able to mount the Lazy Boy over here in the quad on the front left side. Elijah looked like there was a fair amount of cover there for Bent, but he's able to mount straight up, get into the Lazy Boy, and then accelerate there from the Lazy Boy into the front line.
Content Hegeler. And Elijah bouncing off the front line boundary. Then bounces off the sisters, literally has his man spinning around. He spins around himself as he exits the mountain. It's turned into a race around the outside, and Elijah is quick. As a little stop, he bounces off the sisters and then goes all the way out of the quad.
A lot of quad exits here, Dan. A lot of quad exits. I'm seeing people flopping all over, getting that tag, and then accidentally finding themselves outside of that border. You're meant to keep the play inside the quad.
What do you put it down to? Is it just the intensity of this? This is the World Championship. People are kind of sending it a bit. Speaking of sending it, in comes Frank. The Ocelot. Into the loading bay, under the mountain, scrambles down low, so powerful, so explosive, just jumps, covers so much ground, nearly loses his footing, but he does not stop him because he keeps on going. The Energizer Bunny that is Frank Mejia does get his man.
There's a tag, but you can even see on Frank a little bit of worry in his face there as we start to tick, 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 get into that 15, 16, 17 seconds. As we get into the later parts of the chase there, there's a lot of pressure on Frank to make it happen, and that tag attempt there would have been, again, a finger, a trailing finger that he's got around the corner. Close for Koen. I think he could have done real well to make that distance.
Daan van Dissel comes in. First time we've seen him in action in this one as Frank just jittery legs all around the loading bay and then tries to turn it into a race, but it's not one he's going to win. This is Nimbus' third game today. It's Rooftop Kings first, and that's the first we've seen of Daan, so he's fresh.
Not only is he fresh, he might be the answer to Frank Mejia. Seeing Daan's play style, he is very quick. It's a very sort of Kai Baldwin, Matthew Hall style player. He's got quick feet, he's got good eyes, and he can cover ground real well to stay close to your player and put the pressure on him.
Gabriel Payne, first chance to see him in this particular game for Nimbus. As Daan goes by the ridge, now up to the mountain and waits, and he sets off quickly, uses that high line to get away from Gabriel, who's hanging around in the centre, looking for a moment, looking for his option to strike. Can he find one? He keeps coming back to the centre and keeps looking for an opportunity, and he keeps failing to find one. Gabriel Payne can't get his man, and Daan van Dissel puts Rooftop Kings in the lead.
There's that first evasion on the board. We're seeing Dan use some real good pattern control there. He's done the same pattern twice, and then Gabriel's like, okay, I think I know your number, and then we mix it up, breaking the combo, combo breaker down there by the Lazy Boy, and sending himself back to get that first evasion.
1-0, Rooftop Kings. Athletes ready!
Rooftop Kings have the advantage. We've only got 4 chasers left. Nimbus in another real dogfight. They managed to dig themselves out of trouble against Quality, but can they do it against one of the favourites for this group? And Elijah van der Vijver grabs hold of his man.
Yeah, again, breaking ground, getting closer and closer and closer in this loading bay position. If Dan is trying to evade, he cannot let Elijah get inside that loading bay. So there's a moment there where immediately the dive is there and you've got nowhere to go. It's an open ground tag. You cannot escape from that corner if they get inside that loading bay.
It's Content Hegeler back into action, the number 9 for Rooftop Kings. Make a tag here, and they are on the verge of victory. It would be a first in World Championships for Rooftop Kings. He's lucky to stay in the quad there. He nearly followed it out, and it's turned into a bit of a chase. Elijah van der Vijver now goes through the mountain. That spin out of it. There is a tag claimed, but he's going to have to keep on chasing. Now, they are going to the DTR. He did claim it immediately. He seemed quite confident, Cone, but we'll have to see what the referees say. To change this year, they are video reffing the entire thing constantly, but they then obviously go into more detail if there is a DTR.
Yes, obviously Johan we're seeing here, head ref, having discussions with his ref board team here. We see a few refs on the quad, but we've got a special room with all of the... We've got a man in a van, basically. Dan, we've got a man in a van. And this guy is checking all of the feed for all of the GoPros, all of the live stream feed, and as well as the jib to check multiple angles, and then he's going to relay that information to our head ref, Johan.
Now,
lovely spin, look at that. Oh, called. Okay, interesting. Called on the foot, maybe?
Yeah, I believe that's the case. He sort of spins out of it, Elijah. There is a swipe of the hand, but again, we'll labour the point here. It is down to the tagger to make it obvious.
Yeah, a lot of chase happened after that spin down as well. We see the spin happen. He's called it. He should continue chasing him, to be clear. But at that point in the chase, we are early days. We still had a lot more movement, a lot more maneuvers that Elijah threw down to try and get that evasion in. Hopefully it wasn't wasted energy for Elijah.
Look, there are a lot of cameras on this quad, but there's also a lot of obstacles, and finding an angle that is going to be conclusive can be difficult. The one they're looking at right now is from a little way away.
And there we go. We have called the evasion here.
Well, not yet. They're calling for it, but the referee, we are still waiting for him. This is massive. It is either 1-0 Rooftop Kings, or it is 1-1, and Nimbus are on the quad in the penultimate chase. This could be absolutely huge for the future of this group. We're waiting on our referee to give a decision. He wants to have another look. The tension. We have some information, and there is a decision. What is that decision? Tag given! Rooftop Kings maintain their lead.
Look at that. And it just goes to show that fancy move. We're getting in, we're getting some spins in, we're coming through the mountain in an unorthodox way. Possibly the quicker route is the simplest route.
And that means it's match point. Rooftop Kings have gone from being potentially about to lose to potentially about to win 2-0. That is the enormity of that decision. Logan Piner trying to save the game here for Nimbus. Follows him on the high line, but can't quite match his speed. But he's out by the front line, and surely he gets him there, and he does get him there. And there is one last chance for Nimbus to get an evasion that would mean a tie after 16 chases, and it would force sudden death. But in comes Largo, Lizian Ostiana, his first appearance on the quad in this one. They've saved him for the end. Does he bring this to an end?
Match point, Rooftop Kings. Athletes ready!
Logan Piner must evade. Largo going after him up on top of the ridge. Decides not to make a move just yet, but he's got to make a move now. Does not. Oh, he's out the quad! Did he get attacked beforehand? He did not, and that means the evasion counts. Logan Piner didn't even know. It's one apiece. We're going sudden death.
1-0, Dan. Crazy getting that speed in. I think really for me, Largo needed to get off the ridge earlier. He's flushed him from the ridge, but he needed to get down and get that tag much earlier than he did. And that does mean we're about to see our first sudden death in this World Championship.
Yeah, so sudden death. It is a one-on-one chase-up like you've seen. Both teams get a go. Longest evasion wins. So in this situation, Connor, what are you looking at? Anything over sort of 12 seconds is defendable. Obviously, if you go the full 20, that's the ideal. But if you get to 15, 16, that piles the pressure on the other team.
Yeah, for sure. You ideally want your chaser to get a spike tag, which is anything under 5 seconds. You want to get onto that quad, put the pressure on, make a mistake, make the evader make a mistake, sorry, and as that chaser, get the earliest tag possible to secure the option of you winning this draw. As we know from the tournament, if we win outright, we get 3 points on the tournament board. This will mean that both teams have already been awarded 1 point for making it to a draw. this sudden death allows us to play for an additional point.
Now you can choose who you send in for the evader and the chaser. Logan Piner seemed to be of the opinion, well, I've just evaded, so I have to stay on, right? That does not need to happen in sudden death. You can send in whoever you like. Yeah, and it would be mad to send in a guy who's just run around, even though it was a short chase.
Yeah, you want a fresh player, but at the end of the day, sometimes you just want someone that can get in the head of whoever the opposing team have played as an evader. We got Red One, who doesn't get mixed up easily, and then Frank has stepped up to the chaser plate for Nimbus. This will be a battle to contest. Two speed demons, and both quite tricky in their own right.
Chase 1, Rooftop Kings evading.
Well, Red One's going to start by the tilted cube. Can Frank make the tag, and how quickly can he do it? He does everything quickly, this man, and he goes for the tilted cube, and that is quick! That is a spike, and that might be a match-winning spike for Nimbus.
And that's exactly the result you want for Nimbus. You can hear the crowd goes wild. People already know what this means for Nimbus. It's going to be almost impossible for Rooftop Kings to step up to the mark. And this is the player I would pick, Dan. They've got Dan Diesel stepping up on the chaser plate. If anyone can do it now, he needs to get that tag in under 5 seconds.
Yeah, 5 seconds is the official time. I believe it's 5.0 seconds. Gabriel Payne, he can start by the ridge, run back for cover. That's going to burn half the time right there.
Second line of defense, classic move. Being able to start there, give some options. He's going to put some doubt in Dan Van Diesel's head, and then he's going to play on that doubt to get an extra few seconds to run back to the loading bay. That's what I'm expecting, Dan.
How do you get this in less than 5 seconds? Oh, we're just double checking the exact time. Van Diesel is going to have to be shot out of a cannon to have any chance of getting that.
We've just been heard at 3.39 seconds. Wild time to beat. Let's see what Dan can do.
And it's changed Gabriel Payne's plan. He's got, I'm going to the back of the quad. You're not even going to reach me in less than 4 seconds, let alone tag me. This would be the most ridiculous tag. And there you go. That was just impossible. And Nimbus have snatched victory from the jaws of defeat. They trailed after 12 chasers. They leveled in the very last chase, and they have nicked it in sudden death. And that means it is 2 points for Nimbus, just the 1 for taking it to sudden death for Rooftop Kings. This is not the start to the tournament that the kind of second favourites in the group will have wanted. Let's show you what that does to the table, because things now look very, very different, Connor. If Nimbus have taken out Rooftop Kings in their opening game,
Nimbus have taken the lead. I mean, they played the most matches so far, so that makes sense, but they have done so well with them, and we do seem to have a new favorite in the Americans. Nimbus coming up. They blasted my expectations. I thought Rooftop Kings would have their number, but Nimbus have been unexpected on the quad, taking some crazy wild cards, moving well, and being able to secure that from a sudden death win.
Well, what does this mean then? Because this is a huge game. Rooftop Kings, a lot of people expected them to finish second behind Hollywood Freerunners in this group, but Fakaw's ears will have pricked up with that victory for Nimbus.
And huge showboat in the arena here. We've got everyone cheering on the home favourites. Let's see what these young bloods can do against the current reigning champions of the world.
And this place is really filled up as well. So there are a lot more French fans in for the big game as far as Fakaw are concerned against the defending champions Hollywood Freerunners. There was a little bit of sniping from Esteban Noguera at the press conference last night towards Hollywood. But the homegrown team from right here in Paris, France, are hoping to produce another upset. All right, not the biggest upset that Nimbus beat Rooftop Kings in a sudden death, but it isn't the expected result, or the result that many people expected. Not many will expect Hollywood Freerunners to lose this, but if they do, then good luck picking who comes out of this group, because it'll be wide open.
Especially if this can go to a clear winner. If we can see that clear winner from here, we're going to get so many more points on the board. There we go. Each team introducing themselves to each other, making sure they're ready to play a good, clean match, get some good sportsmanship up there. And it looks like Hollywood have chosen Grant, their newcomer, to get the work done on that first chase. Interesting choice.
Well, first time we've seen Grant today. Were they keeping him a secret just for Fakaw? He's a quick mover. And he's bouncing off the mountain, and he bounces off there again, and Esteban tries to make the tag, and he does eventually make the move. About 3/4 of the time had gone, but the tag did get made.
What I'd like to highlight here is Grant is moving so fast, but not in a straight line. It's the agility that makes him fast. It's the quick feet that got Esteban second-guessing him here in the loading bay. But eventually we've got Esteban getting that dive, threaded dive tag, straight through and just about catching Grant there on the ankle.
Carson Palmer, the man sent in to try and get hold of Esteban Nogueira, the Fakaw captain. And Carson just biding his time at the moment. Just see him not committing, not yet. And oh, look at this! A little do-si-do on the sisters. Did not know where Esteban's gone, and now he has gone, and now he's gone again, and he's sending him all over the place. And Carson Palmer with a desperate dive, and the defending champions trail early on to the home team.
And there it is, Dan. Esteban getting it done. I was going to say Carson would have been my best pick to put in against him. They've got similar body types, similar working styles, but this was the moment. That sisters juke just put Carson all around, spun him in his head, missed the tag opportunity there, diving through the tilted cube, and then couldn't get it done for Esteban to finish off that evasion.
Now then, let's see what the defending champions are made of. They trail for the first time here in Ovry Kokorama. They send in the night of flight from their victorious World Championship campaign, and Kai Baldwin makes a quick tag.
1-0 this early on can be recovered from Dan. Hollywood Freerunner Novice, they're sending in Kai, they're making sure it's not a 2-0 lead this early on. 2-0 would be a hard uphill battle for the 1-0. They are hoping that Kai can now even the score, get that tag, and Fakaw have chosen Antoine up on the chaser plate to get it done.
Antoine Crepin, light glamoring off his baseball cap, trying to get hold of the leading light of world chase tag, and Kai turns around in open ground and manages to get away, and look at the space he's built up in just a short distance and a short time, and he looks over his shoulder and he goes again, but the tag comes in. It's not made. There was no contact. And it's Antoine ends up applauding that one from Kai Baldwin, who levels almost immediately.
A game of inches, and we've got a cheerleader in the crowd for Hollywood rooting them on to get that first evasion on the board. Couple of real near misses here, and we see here Antoine dropping down to the front line by an inch, missing that elbow and deciding, oh, you know what? Yep, fair play. That was a nice, clean evasion.
False start there from Luke, so they're going to have to go again. I'll just wipe the slate clean. A little bit too eager from Luke Yan. Stamping on that plate.
There it is, a bit of aggression. Let's go.
It's a few extra seconds for Kai to recover. May not have done him any favours. The French crowd are raising their voices. Allez Fakaw is the chant, and Kai Baldwin loses his footing and basically tumbles from the top of the mountain. It's high-intensity stuff here in Ovry.
Yeah, quick foot slip in between that. That's the second time a Hollywood player has get that missed foot in between. We saw Kyle take a similar spill earlier, and now Kai Baldwin taking a big drop from the mountain. I hope he's okay here. It looked like a bit of recovery, but straight to the back. Luckily, we didn't put a wrist out. There was no small breakages, but that is a big overall impact on the back.
Well, Kai Soderman into the action here. Amos Rendell was very quickly to Kai Baldwin there and guiding him back to the team effort, and it's Carl Soderman's turn to have a bit of a knock. He seems to have shaken it off, and he made the tag.
Luke looking fast for Fakaw, but has got his set patterns. He is running the route that he knows he needs to run, whereas Kyle is watching the route and deciding where he can intercept. There's a lovely undercut there from Kyle, taking the center and getting the tag by the sisters.
Well, that familiar breathing technique of Carl Soderman, just giving himself a moment to recenter, to collect his thoughts, to prepare himself, to try and get out of the way of Esteban Nogueira. And look how he uses the quad there, and he stopped and he tried to bounce off. And I think he might, oh, wow. I'm surprised the chase lasted as long as it did, Connor.
3 tag attempts in under 3 seconds there from the front line all the way into the loading bay. Almost, and there we got our third time. Third time's a charm. Esteban looks like a bit of a star player here for Fakaw. Seems to be the only one that can get that momentum, and hopefully he can keep it. Let's see if he can get the second evasion on the board for Fakaw today.
Is it repeat or revenge for Carson Palmer? He was evaded by Esteban in the second chase of this one, that put the defending champions behind. They have sent him in again to try and get a hold of him. Will there be a similar mistake? Again, he is biding his time and waiting. It was the sisters where things went wrong last time, but he gets it right this time. Allowed to just descend and make the tag.
There we go, on the inside, and you can only imagine Esteban's pressure there, knowing in his head, oh my god, they've sent him the same player that I've evaded before. What does he know that I don't? Why isn't he bothered by the fact that I've evaded him before? And those subtle little mind games are what make up this match. We need to try and get in the head of the opposite player and get into that intimidation zone.
Into the second half of this one, it's Roger Maurice who gets sent in. From Villeneuve-Saint-Georges here in France. Up onto the tilted cube. Carson sets off, uses those bars around the outside of the sisters. All the way around, finds the ridge, then ducks out of the dive that comes through the ridge, hops up onto the front line, then the sisters. He's built up a bit of space and a bit of time, and he's shimmying one way and then the other. Has he got away? Has he got away?
Carson needed to get out of that corner. It looked like a tag attempt, but I don't think Roger has made it to the arm. He should have been diving into the inside of the tilt cube, not diving through to the back end of the tilt cube, because his shoulder got caught on that center bar there, not allowing him to get the reach that he needed to secure the tag. 2-1 up to Hollywood Freerunners.
Carson Palmer has turned this around. Redemption after missing the tag to see his team go behind. He has now put them in front. And it's Antoine who's sent in to get him. He reaches out and he just can't quite find the shirt on Carson Palmer's back, but he does find it a second time before he heads to the mountain. It is 2-1 Hollywood, but we've got a game on here.
There we go, nice little tag attempt with a Ludi dive out of the tilted cube, and then not choosing to trail Carson back to the ridge, but cutting back into cut-off options near the exit of the loading bay, then pushing him back through the loading bay to get that tag on the inside just by the mountain. Well done for Antoine. Let's see if he can keep that intensity and get back those points.
Gabe Torres into the action. The French crowd start their chants again, but it's not quite with the same conviction as when they were leaving. Gabe is desperately trying to keep the hat on his head at the minute. He looks like a pirate, like a buccaneer. Is it a buccaneering move that gets the job done? He does manage to get hold of Antoine and preserve Hollywood's lead.
I think the hat was in a different position to the quick little head bump there by Gabe, clearing underneath one of the obstacles near the back line. But despite that, he's regained his composure and got closer to Fakaw's player to be able to get Antoine off of the quad. And now Gabe is setting up with a very unconventional loading bay start. I haven't seen anyone start in the loading bay in an age.
Well, they are going to do some creative things, this Hollywood team. He goes up to the ridge, bounces off it, decides to go over the mountain. He loses his footing, but manages to get away. But the tag attempt doesn't make contact with the ankle. Gabe Torres is still alive in this one. Roger Maurice into the loading bay, reaches around the corner. And Gabe Torres slamming his palms into one of the steel pipes from the mountain in frustration, because he thought he'd recovered. He thought he might get the point.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about stumbles earlier, Dan. These stumbles and recoveries from Gabe here are legendary. Quick little stumble over the mountain and then making it back to his feet by the tilted cube. He has done super well to get back that speed. I thought the tag was going to be made under the sisters there.
They've seen some real relief from Roger Maurice there, but Kai Baldwin will not let him feel that way for long, not very long at all. And if there was any question about how Kai Baldwin was feeling after he took a tumble earlier, that might have answered the question.
Yeah, I think here Kai's just flushed out the ridge and not even given the option for Roger to double back on himself. He's seen, okay, Roger's going to go straight to the loading bay. I'm going to flush the ridge super quick, push him back to the loading bay, and then there's my tag opportunity. If Roger had stepped back from the ridge a little bit more, there could have been a little bit more of a ridge game to kill the clock before moving on.
Esteban coming in, team captain trying to save this one for Fakaw. Kai Baldwin is found very quickly by Esteban, and look at the celebration from the team captain of Fakaw.
Esteban falling to his knees there, praying to God, being like, thank God I got the night of flight. Now let's see what I can do. This is match point. A tag will lose the match to Fakaw. Hollywood Freerunners only need Kyle Soderman to do what he does best, get this tag, and they have won the match. Fakaw are here to defend that. Esteban has got an uphill battle. Let's see if he can get the evasion.
Kyle Soderman, very rarely does anyone evade him, and that's not happening. And look at the reaction from Kyle Soderman. Shakes the hand of Esteban Noguera, but he could not stop himself from reacting, because Hollywood Freerunners, the defending champions, make it 2 wins out of 2. This one they had to work for, Connor.
And that puts them back in the lead. Hollywood Freerunners, reigning champions, have managed to show what they're worth on this quad here today. 2 clear wins, putting them at a 6-point advantage. not 6-point advantage, sorry, 6 points total on the board, getting them a 6-point lead and putting them at good standings in this here tournament.
Well, look, they had to come from behind to win that one. Let's see if we can show you the table here just to give you the standings. Because Hollywood Freerunners have come here to defend their title, and they have successfully managed to win their opening games. Not by much, it has to be said. They managed to win their opener 1-0 against Nimbus, and they've come from behind there to beat Fakaw by 2 points to 1.
Absolutely phenomenal work there, buddy. That was really, really strong. Obviously, a couple of the fans are a bit worried after seeing you take the fall and then go out. What happened?
I've got a reputation, it seems, of falling over. I just, you know, the intensity of Worlds just brings out, I was going 11 out of 10, you know, and so because of that, my foot slipped. I thought if I just committed to it, I would get myself back under there, but yeah, but instead I flipped over. I felt good about my landing. I got a little pain in my foot, but I don't think it's it seems to disappear with the adrenaline. So far we're good, and that's 2 down.
All right, well, glad to hear you're right, man. Good luck on the next one. We'll see you soon.
Right, let's show you the table then. Kai Baldwin there, big performance from last year's Night of Flight. Hollywood, top of the table, 2 wins out of 2. Nimbus have a win and a sudden death win, so they're second at the moment. But you can see Rooftop Kings, who were beaten in sudden death, only the 1 point for that sudden death defeat to Nimbus. They need to win this one against Quality to get himself right back up towards the right end of the table. Quality Movement yet to pick up points, but they did come close in their opener against Nimbus. We shall see how they fare against Rooftop Kings, who will be looking to bounce back, Connor, because, look, they would have built up to this and built up and built up. To get out there and lose their opening game when they were leading, that is a blow.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I'm seeing Rooftop Kings and Quality Movement both owning their own quads, training up students and making sure they've got good work in their home gyms. Let's see what they can do to bring that to Worlds now.
There's Charlie Murray who's starting things off, and it's Largo who's brought in. First time we've seen him brought in this early. He was saved right till the end and it didn't work out. But that is what he's about, Largo.
Full send, there's the dive. Largo getting it done, getting that tag, and then putting them now in the evasion seat.
With Largo being evaded and then them snatching defeat from the jaws of victory in the previous one, as a coach, what are you saying to your player in between those games? Because you have to build him back up, right?
Yeah, we need to take it back 1 game at a time. You can't think about the previous game. You just got to think about what's in front of you and what you can do about it now.
Victor Nikamo comes in. Remember, Quality are down a player following the injury to Matthias Hedvig, who they had been using a lot. So it's even more work for the likes of Victor. Up on the front line. Oh, Largo loses footing, but Victor's not close enough to make it count. And he hops out of the mountain, but the tag is claimed, and I think it's acknowledged as well. The lights go green, but then immediately red. The tag was made, it's 0-0.
Yeah, Victor getting that just there underneath the mountain. This is Victor Nikamo. Double check that. Yep, sorry, Victor Nikamo getting the tag there and making sure Largo is sent off. Strong player, already had some tire. See what Rooftop Kings to put in Dan Van Diesel to see if they can equalize that and get the tag now.
Well, Don had the impossible job of trying to get a spike in less than 4 seconds to get the sudden death win against Nimbus. He was unable to do that, but he's got the full 20 to make the tag here, and he doesn't make it. Ends up slamming into the sisters. Oh, Victor had absolutely no clue where he was there, did he?
Yep, no business being in the center when Dan had already had a tag attempt by the sisters. Missed it, the distance was created. Victor could have utilized that distance and got himself back into a nice high EQ area to do a little bit of a stalemate, duel it a little bit, keep the cover, but instead he's right there out in the open for Dan to track him down.
Athletes ready!
0-0 it is. Dan Van Diesel. Look at his set off. Doesn't go over the mountain at first. There's a stop and a wait. He uses that high line, drops down by the system in the loading bay. And that's good acceleration to get away. Charlie Murray, there's a dive through the ridge. He's never, ever going to make contact with him there, but he could do here. He could do here. And he does do. It's late on in the chase. 19 seconds gone, but Charlie Murray makes the tag.
Yeah, a bit of a hesitation there. I'm seeing Rooftop Kings work real well with his quick feet. They work real well in the open. But Charlie seems to have his number here, being able to push him out from the loading bay, reduce the options, keep himself close, and eventually get that tag there.
Red one's turn. Quality, a quarter of the way through this game. Still at 0-0. They're in this contest. They've not gone behind early, but they're also not going to take the lead in this one because Red One tracked him down.
Clean tag, cutting in across the mountain, being able to keep himself low and then get that tag there by the tilted cube. Red One, very well known for his unexpected maneuvers, let's say. He's got some real tricks up his sleeve. Let's see what he can bring to the quad. And we are starting now in the classic position of the tilted cube.
Leon Brandt's turn to come in for the Swedes. Quality movement. And he's just waiting. Again, managed to move through the loading bay very nicely, but not enough to be able to force a tag opportunity. He cuts that corner and he gets him by moving over the sisters.
Well played there, also building up some distance and keeping himself out in the open by the loading bay, then breaking away across the front line. Just couldn't quite get the acceleration he was looking for across the front line to make that sisters count, and there's the tag there.
So Leon Brandt already managed to pick up an evasion in this tournament, but he now must stay out of the way of Quentin Hegeler, the number 9 for Rooftop Kings. Leon up at the top of the mountain, seeing a lot of people just get to the top of the mountain, stop and wait, and use it as a bit of an idling opportunity. Manages to escape over the sisters, but the cut there, cross quad, just got to the corner before Leon could get away.
Yeah, expecting him to follow him round the ridge there and able to jump through that little tray, a low tray between the ridge and the front line. And there is a tag made. Yeah, I'm liking this idle at the top of the mountain, Dan. It is a nice, cool technique to be able to kill a little bit more time before you jump down.
It's Brandon Sandon. Chase tag athlete styled by Dr. Zeus, or at least named by him. Quentin Hegeler trying to get away. Brandon gets tangled up in the tilted cube a bit. A lot of metal there. Hops up just before the ridge, then onto the ridge. And he's using the height, but how can he use it to force an opportunity underneath the sisters? Quentin Hegeler going subterranean, spreads his arms, and that's the first point of the match on Rooftop Kings lead.
And that's what we like to see from some of the favorites in here for this World Championship. Kuhn doing real well, breaking the beta, being able to find a different method. What was expected was that he'd just continue there from the double ghost over the sisters and continue round. And he did not find his man because Kuhn all of a sudden was underneath him.
Victor back into action, looking to stop Cone. Extend this lead for Rooftop Kings. Good foot placement on the bars there. Little look over the shoulder. Duke in open ground, goes back the other way. Is he going to try it again? No. Threatens to... And okay. Well, it was the same trick, but eventually it went catastrophically wrong.
What worked once might work twice, but it will not work a third time in this case.
Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. And fool me thrice, well, that's not happening, mate.
Fool me thrice, I'm going to tag you on the front line.
Yeah. You're just walking directly at me, pal. So Victor giving a bit of a gift there. I don't think Dan Van Dissel's going to be giving out many gifts as he races over to the loading bay, keeping low and following his man, and he just always felt like that was going to happen.
Textbook Spider there, being able to see the footwork, getting into the loading bay, but also having the ability to speed out either way. He can go right or left from the loading bay there. Dan Van Diesel is stepping inside, but he's got his feet effectively on the ground, both sides, hands on the loading bay, so he can speed left or right depending on which way his opponent goes. Great use of the Spider, great use to flush him out of the loading bay.
Dan versus Charlie Murray. It's 1-0 Rooftop Kings. Can they double their lead here? Dan sets off. He's got pace. Under the ridge. Up to the top of the mountain. There's that weight on top of the mountain. Charlie goes there to join him, but he disappears down it and around the front line. And there's not much time left here. There's not enough time left for Charlie. It's 2-0 Rooftop Kings.
And that is what we're looking for here, Dan. I want to see that break of chase, pace. Dan's really good at this. He's breaking the momentum, breaking the rhythm of the other player, getting him those stutter steps, making him second guess. Am I going this way? Am I going that way? Even while in motion. It's not about when you're just stood still under cover. It's about when you're in motion, being able to just add those extra steps in to break the rhythm of the chaser.
Leon Brandt sent in as Rooftop Kings have a commanding lead. 2-0 up with just 4 chases to go. 5 chases to go, but now it's 4 chases to go. And Leon Brandt, there is a lot on this man's shoulders right now.
Yeah. big uphill battle here. We're coming into chase 13 for Leon. He needs to start making moves for quality movement, or else they are going to get knocked straight out of this match.
2-0, Rooftop King. Athletes ready!
Largo into this one. On the bottom of the mountain, it's a very straightforward tag, and things are looking much, much better for Rooftop Kings.
And this is more what I was expecting when I was thinking Rooftop Kings coming into this World Championship, Dan. I've seen how they've worked in Rotterdam, seen how they've worked in various different chase-offs over the last few years, and they have built up a skill set that is formidable. I want to see them put this to use, not only on quality movement, but also against some of the higher profile teams.
Match point. So Victor must get hold of Largo if they're going to preserve this game for at least another chase, maybe a couple. Largo going all the way around the outside. There's a dive through the loading bay. It does not make contact. It's the high line from Largo. Cuts things short as he goes around the front line under the ridge, and that will do it. It is 3-0 to Rooftop Kings, and they bounce back from that opening defeat to Nimbus. Much more like what we expected from the African team.
Finishing in style, Largo being able to get all the way around the quad. Those high lines are tricky, Dan. You've got to make sure your foot placement is exact. Those bars are thin. We are working on black spray painted bars. The lighting changes as well. We got to look at making sure every athlete is safe with every move as they move around. Largo did real well to secure that evasion and get the win for Rooftop Kings.
Well, that means that Rooftop Kings do pick up the full 3 points, so that'll take them to 4. And these are the standings, as you can see. It won't shift Hollywood from the top, it won't shift Nimbus from second, but Rooftop Kings now into third spot. Top 2 from this group qualify. And coming up, it is Nimbus playing their final game of this afternoon. They will return Nimbus to play their final group game, as they all will, tomorrow night. However, that one will be against Fakaw, and that could be absolutely huge. We have just shown you the table. If Nimbus can get the victory here against Fata Morgana, then they're in a pretty strong position. It might well be in their own hands come tomorrow. But Fata Morgana, no slouches. We've already seen them dismiss quality movement. However, that 3-0 opening defeat to Fakaw will have hurt. Can they reignite their hopes in this group by taking out Nimbus?
Yeah, they've got to reel from that and get back in the game at this point. Obviously, they're saying hi to all the players now. Everyone here is playing under the same sportsmanship rules. Everyone's competitive on the quad. Everyone's friendly off the quad. Or mostly everyone, Dan.
Mostly everyone, that is true. But particularly with this Nimbus team. They are, I believe, to quote you, the silliest of gooses.
They are indeed the silliest of gooses.
Yes, it will be a clash of styles, certainly in that regard, as they take on Fata Morgana, who are very serious gooses.
Fata Morgana, athletes ready!
Gabriel Payne kicks things off, trying to track down Dmitry Domakov, the Fata Morgana captain. He reaches over the top and he does not make contact. Crouching down to get out to the mountain, just slapping that board in the loading bay, and he gets into it, but Dimitri's already vacated the area. He's already gone, and the time is going, and there's another dive there. And was that Gabriel Payne, with the internal clock ticking, realising a move needs to come now?
Yeah, the pressure's building and building and building. You feel it in the arena. The players definitely feel it in themselves. The more we play these 20-second rounds, you've only got 20 seconds to make something happen. So if 5 seconds have passed, you start to think, okay, I've probably got another opportunity or two. If 10 seconds have passed, we've probably only got one more chance before you really start to get that clock to tick down 2-0.
Shai Turkia into the action. Gabriel Payne looking to put Nimbus ahead in this one. And he is not going to do that because Shai makes a very quick tag to keep the score at 0-0.
Tag for tag, nice even matches here between Nimbus. Both teams having played a number of matches already today. They have got to make sure they're conserving that energy and coming in fresh to make the most out of these 20 seconds.
It's worth noting that Fata Morgana, this is their third game. They will play Hollywood Freerunners later and then Rooftop Kings tomorrow. That is theoretically the hardest 2 games. So they need to make the most of this as Logan Piner manages to get Shai Turkia and nearly takes out one of our referees, I believe, in the same process.
just a big walking crash mat at this point. People are just saving each other on the outside of the quad. Love to see it. Logan setting up there by the ridge. Again, one of his unorthodox starts. I am predicting that he will just jump down from that ridge and make a couple of moves, but he could jump up to that ridge, and that would be even more interesting to see a highline attempt.
Well, decides against that and just hangs around underneath the ridge, but quite quickly vacates the area to go to the mountain. To the tilted cube, drops down through the mountain this time rather than under it. Luis is trying to find an opening. He goes low, and they're both on top of the tilted cube, but Logan manages to get away. He goes low under the mountain. There's a swing, and it's claimed. Luis is claiming it. He is shaking his hand. He is shaking his foot. It is an entire dance that Luis Casas has actually produced for us to try and indicate that he made the tag.
Get that on TikTok, Dan. You see that little, yeah, got a little tag, DTR, tag review, got his hands out, got his pointing out. He assumes he tagged the foot. Could be. We need to review some of these footages. Obviously, the referees are doing their work in the ref booth to check that out. We've got our head ref, Johan, with a final decision. But as far as Logan was concerned, keep on running.
Yeah, well, Logan did keep on running. There was no other attempt after that because Luis Casas was too busy doing the no chance dance down in the bottom corner. You shake your hand, you shake your foot, you claim the tag, and then you hope that the video backs you up. And we're seeing the video here, and Connor, you're shaking your head.
Yeah, I'm really not so sure on that angle, to be fair. I mean, that's the same angle I'm looking at it from live on the sidelines here, and it's hard to tell. A hand was swung. It's roughly in that body positioning, but it didn't look like there was too much recoil on the arm. They didn't look like there was too much connection. Hard to say.
Well, Logan's asking the crowd, and they seem to be saying evasion. Unfortunately for them, that has no bearing on what the ref says. He is looking at the footage. And maybe the sort of boundary board gets in the way of where it can be seen. And as we keep on saying, it's down to the tagger to make it obvious. If it is not obvious, and we've got refs around the quad and all these cameras, if it is not obvious, then tag or not, tough luck.
I think it was a t-shirt swipe, Dan, you know? I think that was a reach out. I think that's fingers on t-shirt. And to be fair, if it's not an obvious catch, if he hasn't actually hit body, then we're not counting that. Up to the refs, though. I mean, we'll see what Johan's saying. He's obviously got more than us to think about. He's got his whole ref team in his ear. I don't think he even listens to us. Let's see what we got.
Evasion given. It is the first point to this one, and Nimbus lead it. Logan Piner puts them in front. And Luis Casas, like for all the dancing that he did, it did not secure the tag.
And not only that, it has given Logan a chance to recover optimally for Staz now, stepping up to the chaser play for Fata Morgana. Logan starting in this unorthodox position. Again, look, Nimbus were throwing some of these in practice, Dan, and they have brought them here to show off what is capable of where to start in the match.
Well, he's already changing his mind before the buzzer goes. He's deciding to go to the ridge. And he's underneath it as Staz tries to flush him out, and there's a little dance going on there, and he reaches out, and I don't think he's made contact there, so Logan sort of ghosts around the sisters, then goes round the outside of the mountain, and Staz was not having any of that.
Unsuccessful reverse mountain go, but on the outside now. I've only ever seen these being done on the inside, running up from the inside of the mountain, using that central bar to gain some extra height. But now I've seen athlete Logan jumping outside of the border to be able to swing himself back in. Not successful in this attempt, but very ambitious.
Well, it's Elijah into the action. Up onto the tilted cube, drops down and goes in again, and it's just that bouncing back up and down that kind of sent Staz into a whirlwind.
Yeah, quick fumble there. Obviously, Elijah flushing out the player, not by going inside the tilted cube initially, being able to get to the ground to push that option. By going to the ground, Staz then wants to run back around the tilted cube to the sisters, but then there you go. Elijah's bounced back up like a pogo stick, and he's back where you don't expect him, in the tilted cube.
It's another one of these funky starts for Elijah, where it's like a running start from the chaser's side of the quad. Dimitri drops down for the sisters, but then the Duke kind of stops him in his tracks. There's a big dive and a big tag.
Yeah, great little ghost, which is when we're jumping over the sisters with that double speed step. But then holding that hand on the second sister allows him to change direction, being able to drop down. And that let Dimitri think, oh, is he going to go under? It gave him a second guess moment before he was able to run through to the front line. Didn't happen this time. Dimitri managed to get in that tag, and let's see if Dimitri can get the evasion to match 1-all.
Well, Dimitri started this as the evader in chase 1, and they sent in Gabriel Payne. They've sent him in immediately again. Now, is this a particular strategy for Nimbus? Do they think that Gabriel Payne is ideally matched with Dimitri? It certainly looks like it.
Yeah, and there's a stumble there on both players being able to Kong up through the inside on that mountain wall and then come down to the ridge. Quick little stumble meant that he couldn't get his feet underneath him. Dimitri landing in the ground and then falling to get that tag. Gabriel's hot on his tail, trailing him the whole time, keeping the pressure on to get that tag secured.
Halfway stage of this game, Nimbus have the advantage, but it is as narrow as it could be. Shai Turkiya looking to track down Gabriel Payne by the tilted cube. Jittery leg. Shai reaches over the top. Tag given. Tag given. It's frustration for Gabriel Payne, who wheels away. Hugely annoyed that he managed to let himself get tagged.
I think he was annoyed because he gave enough space for a Ludi dive, but Shai didn't do a Ludi dive. Shai's decided to just dive straight out, full send, both arms reaching out for the tag instead of one, and then breaking his fall with a parkour roll.
Shai looking to evade and looking to level this match. Logan Piner sent in once again by Nimbus. We are yet to see Frank Mahir in action in this one for them. This is their final game of the day. They could put themselves in a brilliant position. They're in a good position in this one, but Logan Pine is not in a great position. The dive comes through the loading bay, and Shai is caught, and it was late in the chase.
Yeah, they needed that. There was that little Viper, Logan coming in straight through the middle of the loading bay there. I thought that was going to Fata Morgana, to be honest, Dan. I saw some real good movement all the way around the evasion opportunity there, and I didn't think he'd be able to catch him, especially after all of the jukes on the front line. But great Viper there, being able to skip straight through the loading bay.
Maxime Mirozny up onto the ridge, drops down pretty quickly as Logan Piner takes the high road on the mountain, hops back to the other side of it, and he's got away. He's got away for now. Maxime Mirozny hopping up again, trying to use a bit of height. He's on the chaser's plate there, Logan Piner. Now he sets off all the way across the quad, drops into the tilted cube. There's a dive, there's a tag right at the death.
On the buzzer, Maxime getting it done again. Really not expecting Fata to keep up with his high-level techniques when you haven't seen them before. I've seen Logan throw all sorts of crazy stuff. Being able to get back to the chaser plate for a moment, a quick little stall there, idling out the time, unexpected change of direction, and then banging it straight back to the tilted cube. Great work there by Logan, but closed down by Maxime.
Tags are enough for Nimbus at this point to get the full 3 points, and they've got fresh players. One of them is Brother, and he comes in now trying to get hold of Maxime. He's into the loading bay, but that was not quick enough to go and make the tag, and Maxime has got away, and we're more than halfway through the time here. But that is not the wisest move from Maxime. He left an opening, and Brother took it.
Yeah, a little stalemate there down by the Lazy Boy. He's looking at the player, being able to see you're going to go left, right, and then forecasting the fact that he's going to push him out under the sisters, and then they're descending on your man. Brother doing really well to get the tag there, secure that tag. All they've got to do now is keep from being tagged.
Yuval Salah into the action. Matthew Brother Watchman threatens to go through the mountain, decides against it. He does go around the sisters, but that's read by Yuval, and that's the tag.
Round not as quick as under in this case. Yuval getting a nice little scramble underneath the sisters, pushing himself off the ground with his hands and being able to secure that tag on the other side.
And look at this. Tags are enough for Nimbus, and it's another time they get to send in a fresh player. It's Mark Bowles. First time in action in this particular match. If he gets the tag, they're at match point. Mark Bowles under the ridge, racing around. Can that fresh legs, can that see him through to make the tag and put Nimbus on the brink of yet another victory? He's moving around by the front line. He's trying to find an opening. He decides to come under the front line. Now it's turned into a race around the outside. This might not go. There's a big dive. He's claiming a tag. There was a big dive. It might be another buzzer tag here.
We're seeing Mark not closing the distance for this whole chase, and then in the last second get that dive opportunity and call the DTR. Wasn't close to your man all the way up until this last little attempt. I'm seeing a hand reach out, but I'm also seeing a hand bounce off the ground down. I'm not sure if that was foot contact or if the hand has reached and he thinks that he touched him when he actually touched the ground.
Well, it's either a level game at one apiece and Fata Morgana might be able to nick this, or it's going to be match point for Nimbus. It was a desperate dive at the end, and you can see the hand does bounce off the floor, but does it catch, say, the sole of the shoe at the same time? It doesn't look like it from there. It's so difficult to see.
It does not look like it, but also you can see from Luis's perspective, sorry, Yuval's perspective, that he might not feel it. Obviously, we are sprinting as an evader. We need to make sure we're running through, and if we are running, we might not feel that contact there. It is the chaser's responsibility to make that tag obvious. I'm not sure how much Mark's done for that, if the tag has been achieved or not.
Well, it's a good long look at this that the referees are taking. We do have a video ref squirreled away in Lezaran, who is looking at everything as it's happening, as well as our head ref on the quad there. They're split, the audience.
It's mostly tags, I think.
Yeah, we're checking out with the audience now. Obviously, the teams have picked their various teams' decision, but this is a crucial moment now for these teams. Whoever wins this is going to go to match point for...
Could it be a heartbreaking end to the day for Nimbus? Leading this game from chase 4, but they could be pegged back in chase 14 of 16. The referee has made his decision. He is on the way to the chaser's plate. What is the decision? It's another crucial DTR. Evasion given! We've got a level game!
Look at that, 1-1 on the board.
It is now match point, Fata Morgana.
And to be fair, Luis completely earned that. Like I said, Mark Bowles was had a hard time closing the distance, even getting close to him until that last-ditch attempt, and it was not reached. He did not touch anything but the floor.
Well, Nimbus managed to turn one around against Rooftop Kings and win it in sudden death. But Fata Morgana managed to turn this one around against Nimbus in this topsy-turvy group. Elijah trying to find a way through. Yuval by the loading bay, under the mountain to the tilted cube. There's a slide and he's got him. He's got him.
Yeah, all over him like a mold on bread, Dan. Elijah getting that slide tag through on the tilted cube, and it is now match point for Nimbus. 1-1 on the board. Chase 16 of 16. This will make the difference if they want the win in the tournament. If they want those 3 points on the standing board, then they need to get this win. Elijah needs to pull out the big guns and get the evasion now. Otherwise, sudden death.
This would be absolutely huge for Nimbus if Elijah van der Vijver can avoid Staz, and he's avoided him there, has he? Staz is claiming the tag, but we're still going on with the chase. Elijah around the sisters, he's going to get tagged there, and he is tagged, and that means 16 chases are done, and we are going to sudden death for the second time this afternoon. Nimbus managed to beat Rooftop Kings with a brilliant display in sudden death. It was down to Frank Mejia with an unbelievable spike tag. Surely they send him in again here.
I'd send in Frank 10 times out of 10 times, not only for the sake that he's pretty good under pressure, but also we can see in this situation that Nimbus have utilized their players real well.
Well, no, it's going to be Gabriel Payne.
Fata Morgana evading.
Staz is staying on. Is this wise from Fata Morgana? Longest evasion wins. Gabriel Payne trying to get hold of Staz Natalia. And he can't get in there. He manages to scramble through. It's a race around the outside. Gabriel Payne tries to cut off the angle. He can't get in there. He reaches. He's claiming the tag. The tag is given, but this is a decent time. A decent time.
Yeah, look, as far as I'm concerned, for player choosing, this was bad choices on both counts. Fata Morgana using the player that's just evaded to be able to get an evasion opportunity here in the sudden death. Staz doing the Lord's work here, being able to get that run and try not to get tagged. However, I would have thrown in a nice fresh player, being able to use Nimbus a little bit better than Gabriel stepping up to the mark. That 14 seconds puts him in a hard standing now, because Frank's got to get over 14.3 seconds to get the win on this sudden death.
Yeah, we're just checking the confirmation. Our clock says 14.43, but they will forensically check it to make sure we've got bang on the right time. It needs to be to 2 decimal places. We are talking hundredths of a second here.
And I'm just hearing here down from our technical team that the screen throughout the match might be in a slight lag position. This is why we're updating some of the times later. However, the lights and the buzzer are exactly on. So if you're hearing that buzzer, then we know it is very precise. And we're going to throw now to Greg, getting ready down at the quad to take some interviews from Nimbus and see what's going through their head at this point in the match.
No, we're not, because I think we're ready to do the decisive moment of the sudden death. Oh, the team might have said no, actually. I think Greg has been absolutely turned down, and quite right too. Who wants to speak to Greg Ball? Okay. Surely we're going to get on with this tag. No, we're still checking the time, so we are going to hear from Greg Ball, who's with Mark Bowles of Nimbus.
Mr. Bowles, thank you very much for taking the time. I know this is a highly pressured situation for you guys. So listen, it's your last match for the day before you play Fakaw tomorrow, and currently you're second in the standings, so you really need the points here. Yes. What's the decision to send Frank on now and not in the first sudden death? What happened there?
Well, there's a little bit of confusion on the sudden death because Fata was supposed to chase first because they evaded first, but that all got mixed up, so we kind of just went on the fly there. Okay. However, Frank is fresh. You notice he hasn't gone in this match. So he's fresh to go. He's been playing good. He's playing smart. As long as he keeps his steps in, he's good to go.
All right, sounds good. Well, let's see if he can deliver over here.
There we go. We are ready to go. 11:39. 11:39 is not quite as long as we thought.
Yep, not quite as uphill battle, but Frank's still got to get some quick feet in him and make sure he makes some smart moves to keep cover between him and Shay, stepping up to the chaser plate for Fata Morgana.
Shy Turkey are so often their go-to guy when they desperately need a tag. They need one in less than 12 seconds. Really, they need it in less than 11. Frank on the mountain, drops down. He's shaking, he's jittering. He goes round the sisters. Now by the front line, no he doesn't. And he shakes and jitters, there's a dive over the top. There's no tag claim, and Frank Mahir has done it again. He has done it again. Frank, the pocket tag, pulled out in sudden death. He managed to help win it earlier on against Rooftop Kings, and he's done the same here against Fata Morgana. It's back-to-back sudden death wins for Nimbus.
When it comes down to the pressure of them, there is sudden death. We see Nimbus can pull it through, and Frank, what a star player for this team here. Getting it done, succeeding and running straight out of the quad for that celebration. Love to see it. Nimbus taking home that sudden death win. Not just a draw, both teams getting a point for the draw, but also walking away with that bonus point, giving them 2 total points on the board for this tournament win.
Yeah, let's see the table then, because this makes things really interesting. Nimbus, we knew they were dangerous, but look where they are. They're second in the table. Now, they're not going to play again today. Fata Morgana have another game to play this afternoon. Rooftop Kings have got a couple of games to play. Fakaw obviously have a couple of games to play. But Nimbus right now are in that coveted second spot, and they will be back for their final group game tomorrow, and it's going to be against Fakaw. But right now we turn our attention back to Hollywood Freerunners, the defending champions. And at the start of this afternoon session, we thought this would be the crucial game. Defending champions, Hollywood Freerunners, up against Rooftop Kings, the only team to beat them in the 2 years since they became world champions right here at Les Arènes of Ricourt-Coron. They had an understated victory, just 1-0 against Nimbus, but they had to come from behind against the home side Fakaw, and they showed a little bit more of what they're about. But can Rooftop Kings show what they're about and beat Hollywood again, Connor?
I would love to see it here. We've got these European Kings walking in. Red One led the mastermind behind the team. Got a good community out there in Rotterdam, training up a whole team of athletes, absolute assassins. Dan Van Diesel especially has impressed me today in this tournament, and let's see what they can do to match up against the powerhouses that is Hollywood Freerunners.
Well, look, they have largely relied on their fabulous four of Kyle Soderman, Kai Baldwin, Carson Palmer and Gabe Torres. We have seen Grant Kinney finding him on the quad once. We haven't seen Amos Rendao take to the quad as yet. You don't think he'd be putting himself in for this one unless they had a big old lead.
I reckon I put in Amos now and I take out Kai, to be fair, because Kai took that big slam in the last match, and if he needs a little bit more time to recover for the rest of the tournament, now would be the time to utilize all of your players, the whole roster, to give that star player a little bit of a chance for recovery.
But against the only team that's beaten you in 2 years, Connor? I don't know if we'll see that. Carson Palmer starting things off. Largo spinning around, losing his footing, but Carson Palmer, he has remained calm in these situations. And it has afforded him a chance there to get the tag.
There's the dive and there's the reach. Not expecting that much reach there. Largo being able to get back through to the sisters, and before he knows it, he's getting reached out, and there is a dive tag made by Carson Palmer around the lazy boy.
Ben Van Hoff into the action. Carson Palmer looking to evade. Can they get an early lead in this one, the defending champions? Carson Palmer jinking around by the tilted cube. Decides to move through the mountain, then goes right back onto the top of the mountain, drops back into the tilted cube. It's a high EQ area, but he's caught in the corner, and Ben makes it count.
I love that change of direction there, being able to come under the mountain and then completely 180 back up the mountain. That worked, for sure. But once he got himself back to the tilted cube, he's running out of options quickly. Ben being able to close him down and push out different options to flush him from the obstacle and get the tag there just down where he needs. And it is indeed Kai Baldwin stepping up to the chaser plate.
Kai comes in. Eyes locked on his man, but he can't reach him there. There was a jump up to the top of the mountain. He can't make contact with Ben, but he cuts off that corner, and he does get him. I thought for a moment he'd missed and he'd gone out the quad, but the tag was made before then.
Once is never, Dan. Once is never. There we go. Kai getting slammed by the mountain on that tag attempt too. Wondering how his body will hold out for the rest of this tournament, but he does now have himself in the hot seat. He's got the tag. He now has an opportunity to put the first evasion on the board, and they want that early evasion to secure a defensive lead.
Looks like Quentin Hegler coming in. And he manages to do the same thing Kai did. Jump up to the mountain, doesn't make contact. Look at him go. Kai Baldwin hopping around like a mountain goat at the top of the mountain. Open play juke, open ground juke. He has no-clipped out of reality there and sent Quentin Hegler into another dimension.
Yeah, just an absolute phase shift. He was not in our universe for a second. Kai just zipping himself out of the border, and then with a little 180 putting himself back into that front line.
Ah, now then Cone is claiming a tag, but where is he claiming the tag? I don't know. Was it the open ground juke? Was it early on? He's nowhere near there.
Nowhere near on the open ground juke. There was a tag attempt made, Dan, at the mountain, but that was a big slam again by Kuhn, being able to get a big reach up.
Where is he claiming it? It can't be the open ground one, surely. Well, they're having a look here. I think this is so quick. It must be a clear decision.
If it's the open ground, it must just be under embarrassment that he's calling the DTR, to be fair. Like, there's no way Kai got away from me there. I must have tagged him. He was right there. I reached out. I tried to tag him.
Evasion given, and that is the first point of this one. Hollywood ominously take the lead against Rooftop Kings.
And there we go. Kai steps onto the quad, gets the tag for Hollywood Freerunners, which allows him to get the evasion for Hollywood Freerunners, and now they are in a much stronger position for this match against their rivals, Rooftop Kings.
1-0 Hollywood Freerunners.
Hands on hips as he hops up onto the top of the mountain from the inside. A little standoff there, and Kai sets off around the sisters, but he's tagged, and Dan Van Dissel kind of spins himself into trouble there, but he's not done any damage.
Dan so focused on the tag, but his self-preservation just switched off for a second. As soon as he achieved his goal, he just turned off and got that little slip, landed down in between the sisters. So there's the tag, and then whoop, okay, yeah, all right, let's recover, get back in, and now he is in the hot seat to possibly equalize for Rooftop Kings.
Yeah, it felt like, oh, I just tagged Kai Baldwin, ah! Right, in comes Carl Soderman. Yet another superstar on this Hollywood roster. One of the OGs in this Hollywood team. Up onto the sisters, up by the front line. Dan Van Dissel trying to get away, and he does not manage to do so.
And there's one of the only stuntmen left on Hollywood Freerunners being able to get the tag. And down by the sisters has given him a nice bit of time to recover. Stepping up to the dumbbells of the mountain. There's that deep breath. Reset the central nervous system. Get himself set. Get himself in the zone. And we have Rooftop Kings up now for a tag opportunity.
Taha Wakoudi, originally from El Jadida in Morocco. Going round the outside. Cole Soderman bounces off the sisters. Open ground juke, and he's going back to the sisters again. This time goes around them. Over the... Whoa! That'll do it. That will do it.
Slip and a miss. You can see they are working on these new strategies, but I don't know if they're quite as polished as they want them for Worlds. These would be big surprises, Dan. We're seeing some movements around the mountain that I haven't seen before. However, I haven't seen them become successful yet. So whether or not they're still warming up in this tournament and they're going to bring it out a little bit more tomorrow, we will see. But right now, they need to defend that 1-0 lead.
Carson Palmer's the man charged with doing so, and he sets off quickly, and he's got his man on the hop. It is fast stuff from Carson, but he's not managed to find an opening as yet. He's waiting, he's trying to find a moment. He's been very good at biding his time, but he can't keep on doing it forever. But Carson Palmer, once again, he is trying to force situations, not making moves, and then waiting for just the right time. Most of the time, it's worked so far today.
Yeah, it's move fast to move slow. He's getting himself in position, and then there's a stall. He'll pause and wait to see what you're going to do about it. He's already in your vicinity. He's already triggered all of the proximity alarms, but he hasn't fired the gun yet. He's right there waiting for you in the dark, ready to get that tag.
We're into the second half of this game. Rooftop Kings trail by a single point to the defending champions. Carson Palmer by the loading bay. Races to the ridge. Again, idles, waits, turns back and open ground, and that one doesn't work for Hollywood this time.
Couldn't get the tag there. Couldn't get the evasion there by Carson, but we do have Kai Baldwin up to try and get the tag next for Hollywood Freerunners. Rooftop Kings need to start making some moves, Dan. We are chased 10 out of 16, and they are currently down a point. Rooftop Kings need to start making some moves and getting some evasions on the board.
1-0 Hollywood Freerunners.
Well, Hollywood's fellow Americans, Nimbus, did take an early lead in their previous game, and it nearly went horribly wrong towards the end because they did not extend that lead. Hollywood will be desperate to just give himself some breathing space, and Kai Baldwin is a man who could do it, but he needs to make this tag here against Benton. Ben bounces off the sisters. If he'd carried on going, he might have got away, but it's a tall order against Kai Baldwin.
Yeah, Baldwin had a choice to make while descending from that mountain, and he chose the more predictable route. He figured, okay, we're going to come down by the sisters. I want to make sure I'm there for when he makes that run back to the front line. Otherwise, we're still messing around under the mountain. I can descend on him from the mountain, but I don't think he's going to be here. I think he's making the cut to the sisters. Good predictability there, and good reading by Kai Baldwin.
Well, they're sending in Cone again against Kai. Kai evaded him last time out. Could he do it again? Shimmying and shaking. Under the mountain he goes. Keeps up that speed. Little look over the shoulder. Waits at the ridge. Cone trying to find a way through. Decides that over might be the best plan. But Kai has already left. Onto the mountain. Drops into the tilted cube. Round the sisters. Where was that foot? It does not matter. It was not within striking distance of Cone, who plants his forehead against the planks on the front line because Kai has got away from him again.
Evasion given there. Cone knows that he was beat by the better man. That was some exemplary chase tag there we've seen in this tournament. Kai being able to break away and take that high line all the way through. And I really love the addition of running on the outside of the sisters to give him that extra few inches.
Starting at the sisters here, then decides to go underneath it. Manages to scramble down low and maintain some pace. He's in open ground here, but we've seen how... Oh, my word, no, no. And in actual fact, no.
No, indeed, Dan. Dan Van Dissel is probably the only player that I would count on skill matching for Kai out of the Rooftop roster. We've got Gabe Torres up next on the chaser plate. Can Dan Van Dissel run and understand the different play styles of each of his Hollywood players to make the most of it and get an evasion on the board?
Gabe Torres makes the tag here, and it will be match point Hollywood. Feels like they've kind of controlled this one. They have used their Fab 4 over and over again, and Gabe Torres, the first time we've seen him in this one, but you didn't need to see him for long. It's a tag in less than 8 seconds. It is match point to Hollywood.
Yeah, clean cut there, being able to tag him just in open exposure. We pick the higher ground, but unless you know that you've got a nice bit of distance between you and the chaser, that high ground can be your downfall. We got a clean tag there at the end of the mountain. Now Gabe is recovering, bent over double, breathing heavy, and ready for the next chase.
Largo into the action. Gabe Torres goes around the front line, reaches out, and there's a stamp of frustration from Gabe Torres because Largo makes the tag and he makes it quickly. But that wasn't the hard part. It was hard. This is the hard part. It's back-to-back evasions or lose.
But Largo's done well to get a nice early tag in that first chase. If it had been a battle and he'd have been running around after Gabe for the full 20 seconds, let's say he gets a 19.5, he'd be even more tired. And he's got a very big task in front of him. Toughest job on the planet here, Dan.
Well, in comes Grant Kenningham, the new boy for Hollywood. A chance to win the match for his new team, and that's exactly what he's done, and look what it means to him. The celebration for Grant Kenningham, given the opportunity to seal the victory, and that's exactly what he's done in double quick time. It is 3 wins out of 3 for the defending champions.
And there we are, showing us how it's done. Hollywood Freerunners are world champs for a reason here, and they are showing exactly what they're made of on this quad. Great sportsmanship as well. Loving seeing the players all make up to each other afterwards. Look, whatever happened on this quad, we're all just trying to play our hardest. We're all just trying to get that result.
Okay, let's bring in the table then, because Hollywood Freerunners are looking pretty good. It's 3 wins out of 3, a +4 evasion difference. Nimbus in second, but they have played a game more than both Rooftop Kings and Fata Morgana, who are tied on points. Rooftop Kings ahead on evasion difference only there, but Fakaw will be on their way to play their 3rd game in just a moment against Quality Movement.
Quality Movement versus Fakaw. In the blue corner, chasing first, Quality Movement.
The dark horses of this competition so far, Dan. Quality Movement have really thrown our expectations under the bus, showing that they have been working hard under their Swedish quad, making sure that community is strong, the coaching is strong, and they've got some really good players that are working hard to bring that to Worlds.
Yeah, however, while they started so strongly against Nimbus, they led that game. They were beaten 3-2, and then it's back-to-back whitewash defeats, 2-0 and 3-0 to Fata Morgana and Rooftop Kings. But here come Fakaw. They have a real opportunity in this group in front of their home crowd, which has built and built and built as this afternoon has gone on, to really stamp their authority on this group. It looks like a dogfight for 2nd place in this group, but Fakaw are right in the mix. Their final game will be tomorrow night against Nimbus, and that could be absolutely huge, but they have to keep doing their jobs, and it's Quality Movement now, and then a huge game to wrap up the session this afternoon against Rooftop Kings. Quality Movement, let's not forget, are a man down. They have lost Matthias Hedvig to injury, so they're playing with 5. But it's Victor Nicamo who starts this one off. It's turned into a bit of a chase, trying to cut down the angle as Luke Yan by the tilted cube hops around the outside of the sisters, waits there, and it's not going to happen. This is not going to happen for Victor. Luke Yan is off a jog through the centre of the quad onto the sisters. It's a lead-off point for Fakaw.
Yeah, again, we talk about that internal clock. Luke felt the clock come in. He knew that evasion was right around the corner, but it really will happen for him at the sisters, getting a great Sam stutter there, that little index tag move that he's got, pausing for a second, changing direction, and then gunning it across the front line border.
And Luke Yan in the very centre of the quad, staring at the chaser. He decides to change tack before the buzzer goes. And it is Leon Brandt who gets his business done by the ridge to make sure that they only trail by 1.
Yeah, Leon sending Luke off packing, and Antoine stepping up with a couple of spins on the chaser plate, prepping himself, getting himself wound up and ready to go.
10 seconds. Chase 3, Quality Movement evading. 1-0, Fakaw. Athletes ready.
Leon Brandt leaning against the ridge. Antoine Crepin chases him out of there, and he is turning into a chase, but he decides not to just tail him. He gets up onto the tilted cube. He can't find a way through there. Once again, he decides, let's not turn this into a race around the outside. But now it's a race, and it's a race that he eventually wins.
And there's that snipe tag there on Leon. Antoine managing to spot the hand trailing on the bar. When we're taking those corners fast, we want to make sure we are holding onto something to change direction, but you've got to let go early. Otherwise, that hand is just trailing back there for your chaser to attack it.
Race 4, Fakaw evading. 1-0, Fakaw.
Charlie Murray, number 42 on the chaser's plate. Looking to make sure Antoine doesn't see Fakaw pull further away in this one. But he's pulled away from him here, constantly checking over his shoulder, scanning over his shoulder. See Charlie Murray, who's turned it into a bit of a chase around the outside, and it's not one he's going to win if he carries on like this. Antoine over the mountain, drops into the tilted cube. It is done, it is done, it is 2-0.
There we go, 2 up. Fakaw's shown them how it's done. Smashing quality movement. They are looking to take home that win in this match. Antoine buzzing off of that one. Real good use of the mountain especially to be able to break away in those last 5 seconds and kill that clock.
2-0, Fakaw. Athletes ready!
Leon Brand back into the action. And he does so very, very well, using the tilted cube, getting close, 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 and then striking.
Yeah, Antoine there looking a little surprised with the tag. Leon getting the dive out of the tilted cube. Here he's got his eyes on his man. Antoine left, right, and he's waiting, he's waiting, he's waiting. It's a little too late. There's that dive straight through the hole. Nice little eye of the needle dive technique there.
2-0, Fakaw. Athletes ready!
Maxence Duriol steps up for Fakaw. You can hear the French crowd as he wheels around the tilted cube there. Up over the front line, trying to cut down the space, does not get there. Can he find another opportunity before the timer runs out? Leon round the front line, quality movement, might get a point here. They are going to get a point on the quad! Time to perfection by Leon Brandt!
There's a cannonball! I've wanted to see a cannonball in a live comp for so long. There we go, world champs has got Leon diving up into the audience, getting a mid-air evasion before finally hitting the ground. But the lights are green, the evasion's given, and they are now back in this game.
Once again, Leon Brandt, their go-to man for quality movement. Luke Yan trying to get hold of him. And there's a swipe, and the tag is acknowledged. And just to go back to that jump out the quad there, if the 20 seconds elapses and he's in the air, that's fine. As soon as his feet hit the floor, that's why you have to time it so well.
Yeah, you have to know how long you can be in the air for, and obviously with a good run-up and a good takeoff, you've got maximum sort of a second maybe to play with. So he's really understanding where that clock is, gunning as fast as he can before that evasion clock hits.
Well, it's Victor back in. They are going to have to cycle through the same guys quite a bit. This quality movement team, we're not seeing their team captain Victor Anderson. They've already lost Matthias Hedvig. But Victor going around the outside and managed to build up some speed, so the dive was good enough to get hold of Luke. And halfway through this game, it's 2-1. Quality movement looking to end their action for the day with a bang and cause some real problems for Fakaw.
Yeah, unexpected victory there on the last evasion. Let's see if we can get another one now. Quality movement have got that battle still ahead of them, but they look like they are fighting ready. Let's see what we can do against Antoine.
Antoine Crepin in. Victor looks gassed. How much has he got in the tank? He's going to need plenty. Certainly if quality movement are going to turn this around. He moves across the quad, heads over to the sisters, now around the lazy boy over to the front line. Now by the ridge, waits, takes a breath, sets off. Antoine Crepin trying to find a way through, and he does, and there wasn't much time there.
Great use of the ridge, great use of the front line, but it does look like it was a cardio issue in the end. Victor just didn't have the extra capacity to be able to keep up that energy and keep Antoine guessing. Antoine could see him slowing down and then made his tag opportunity there by the tilted cube.
2-1 Fakaw. Athletes ready!
Charlie Murray back into action. Antoine Crepin is on the move when the buzzer goes. And he moves over the mountain. There's a swipe, and Charlie Murray's pleased with that one.
Yeah, nice big stamp there from Charlie. Charlie Cheetah gets his man, and now he's set up for the evasion opportunity. A quick hit to the hip, though. Charlie looks like he's banged his hip on that tag because he jumped so high to reach up above the mountain that his waist had hit the mountain itself. Luke setting up on the chaser plate to hunt down Charlie.
Luke Yan and Antoine Crepin managing the load here for Fakaw. As Charlie Murray goes round the outside. Luke trying to get there, and he does get there. And the lead is preserved for Fakaw. The French fans are happy, but there's a few nerves here. It's only a 1-point lead.
Yeah, hard change of direction there, being able to get in under the high wall of the ridge. Charlie just not quite making it happen, but we've got a massive round of applause here for Luke, trying to get that 2-1 lead secured into maybe a 3-1. Let's see if Luke can get another evasion on the board.
It's Leon again. He's been their main man so far, quality move, and he nearly banged his head there. But Luke Yan waiting now by the front line. And there's the dive that comes in, but it does not make contact, and Luke's over the sisters. How many more chances might he get? There was one big dive there. And that is, yeah, not a chance. It's an evasion. Fakaw can breathe easier. They have a 2-point lead, 3-1 to the French.
Evasion made there. Luke just checking in on his man, seeing if he's all right. A bit of a hip bang when he's landing on the floor, but Luke getting great speed there. I love seeing the stalls, holding himself on the sisters, running when he needs to run, holding the time when he needs to hold the time. Great use of chase pace there by Luke.
This is match point for the home team. But it is not going to get done. Luke Yan, who's been on that quad an awful lot in this one, is caught by Brandon. But Brandon must go back to level this tie. If he produced a hat-trick, they would win it. But Elliot Renouf comes in.
It's hard, Dan, but we've seen wilder things happen. Let's see if Leon can make it happen now.
Elliot, almost a false start. So keen was he to get onto the quad. But Brandon drops down, and Elliot Renouf makes the tag, and it's another victory for Fakaw.
Big win there. Elliot getting on the quad for the first time. Really enjoying the fact that that was a decisive tag. Goading on the audience. The audience absolutely loving it here in Every. We have a winner of this match. That is a 3-1 win. Decisive victory by the Paris home team. Team Fakaw managing to take home that win.
Ici est Paris. This is Paris. Could that be a decisive factor in this Group A? Because this was the moment that Elliot Renouf sealed the victory. Big celebration from the young man. As this team, who did a lot of work with academies bringing through the next generation of world chase tag athletes, have put themselves in a fabulous position in this group. Let's show you the standings right now, with just 2 more games to play this afternoon before the final round of games that we will see. Hollywood Freerunners lead the way as expected, but Fakaw 6 points from their 3 games. Even if they lose in sudden death in the next one, that would be enough to go second above Nimbus on evasion difference. So they are in a strong position at the minute, as we see the defending champions Hollywood Freerunners come out looking to make this a perfect day, at least in terms of the results. They have won all 3 of their games so far. They perhaps haven't shown their full capabilities. They have had to dig themselves out of trouble once already. They trailed to Fakaw before turning it around to win, and then they saw off Rooftop Kings relatively comfortably. How will they deal with the Israeli team Fata Morgana? This their final game of the day. It does not look like they're going to be challenging too much really for the top 2 spots in this group, but they would love to be able to walk away from today's action with a victory against the defending champions.
Yeah, I think that's what everyone's been gunning for, really, is to try and take down Hollywood Freerunners. It has not been the opposing team's day. Hollywood Freerunner have been able to defend that title super well, and Fata Morgana, I don't think, have any answers for what they're about to see on the quad today, Dan.
Well, let's see. Hollywood have put themselves in a fabulous position. Will that change things? Might we see a little bit more of Grant Kinningham? Might we see Amos Rendau make it onto the quad? Amos Rendau, who keeps saying he's retiring, then keeps not retiring. Apparently this one might be a tournament that then sees him retire. Who knows? Don't trust a thing the man says. Gabe Torres will start, though.
Chase 1, Fata Morgana.
And it is Luis Casas who's hanging around in a rather conventional starting position by the tilted cube. And he's going to stay there as Gabe gets into the tilted cube, but out of it very quickly to keep up the chase. And he's going to turn it into a race around the outside. Is it a race that he can win? Yes, it is.
Great sprint there across the front line by Gabe. Good acceleration by both players. Gabe just having a slight edge on tailing him, choosing the exact same route that Lewis is running and just being able to do it faster than him. That is pure acceleration to win that first tag. The tags don't equal points. Let's see what Gabe can pull out the bag in regards to evasion prowess against Maxim, stepping up to the chaser plate. Oh, sorry, Yuval.
Yeah, Yuval Salah on the chaser's plate. Gabe Torres did have to expend quite a bit of energy to get that tag. But he is a man with a lot of energy, and he's got some great foot placement there, but he's basically found himself in trouble quite quickly.
Yeah, Val keeping the center, just pushing out Gabe to see which way he's going to descend from that high EQ area around the back line. That loading bay, mountain, and tilted cube are all hard places to evade from. And then we see Yuval get the tag down by the ridge.
0-all. Athletes ready!
Carson Palmer into action. Yuval Salah hanging around by the ridge. Sets off to the loading bay. Carson Palmer once again showing that patience, that willingness to wait for the moment to strike. There is nothing rushed, there is nothing stressed, but when he does spring into action, he makes it decisive.
And there is classic Gates vault over the tilted cube to get the tag. A little bit of pressure on as the time is ticking, but fast movements to pressure the player, but then pausing when he's close to him to see mistakes happen. He's reading the player to see if he's going to go left or right, and then he's making a decisive decision to get that dive tag in at the last second.
Dmitry Domikov comes in, trying to get hold of Carson Palmer. Carson moves through the mountain, underneath the ridge. Then sets off around the front line, but he never really got the speed up, and so when Dmitry made his move, he was able to make it count.
Yeah, not just the speed there, Dan. I'm seeing some misdirect on loud body language, being able to point to show, I'm going to go this way, no, I'm going to go this way. It did not phase Dmitry, and I think Dmitry is one of the main players for Fata to really have an answer for what Hollywood are bringing here today. Between him and Staz, I don't know the rest of the players in Fata can keep up.
Well, Dmitry has been their go-to guy over the years when they have needed evasions. Can he get one here that would put them in the lead against the defending world champions? No, he cannot, because Carl Soderman just jumps on him.
Yeah, and we're seeing the starting position down by the sisters. I've seen a few of these here in this tournament here today, and the answer to it is always textbook. What Kyle Soderman has just pulled out is to take the center and then run people back down towards the front line, because in that front line, there's so much less obstacles to hide behind, and that will allow him the opportunity for a tag.
Carl Soderman, a man who is known for his evasions, still searching for that first one today. Could he get it here? He will not. Carl Soderman still drawing a blank in this one.
Shea's got phenomenal tag rate, and he's showing it here. Shea is able to get that tag down by the loading bay, and now he's freshening himself up, making sure those feet are nice and grippy so he can get that change of direction, keep your agility high, and hopefully make something happen against Gabe. Hat in play, ready to move on the quad.
Gabe Torres looking to preserve the deadlock here. Shy Turkir up on the mountain, but not quickly enough away, and it is still 0-0.
Gabe mounting the mountain, and Shea thinking for a second, he's not really going to dive at me at this height, is he? Gabe thinking, yeah, 100%, I'm making this tag. Hell-bent or leather, I will dive for you, and if I miss, I'm taking the height drop straight out of quad. I don't care, I'm fully committed to that tag.
0-all.
This chase 8. Yet to see any evasions. Can Gabe Torres now break the deadlock? Luis Casas charged with stopping it. Gabe by the ridge. Just shimmying between the ridge and the loading bay. Now changes things up, changes scenery, but we're straight back at the loading bay and back to the ridge. And Luis is not finding any opportunities at the minute. How's he going to do it? Here's one, here's one, here's one! Takes it!
World-class footwork there by Gabe. but it was not enough to make it happen. The pattern's starting to get stagnate. We started to pick the same route again and again, and we need to break out of that. I really thought for a second that would be the full distance and he'd get another evasion for his team, but we are still stuck on 0-0 for Hollywood Freerunners. Fata Morgana through these chases. Let's see if Lewis can make the difference. We got Kyle Soderman stepping up on the chaser plate for Hollywood Freerunner.
Fata Morgana do have a win, but it was against Quality Movement, who've lost all their games so far. That's the team that Hollywood Freerunners will face tomorrow in their final group game. Quick apology there from Soderman. I think he was concerned that it was a bit of an aggressive tag, but purely accidental.
Stomping straight inside that tilted cube, looked like it could have been a kick to the face. Not quite there at this point in the competition. We still want to keep that competitiveness nice and friendly, but he's got the tag, he's secure that now, and we see Shay versus Kai once again.
Shai Turkia charged with stopping Soderman. Soderman looking for that first point. The superstar of this team in years gone by. Now he's been joined by more as he backs out of that one. Uses the sisters expertly to get to the tilted cube. Shai trying to find a way through. Once again, it's those bars on the sisters that offer an escape route. It's an open ground juke. There's a dive. Shai Turkia's not going to get hold of it. And Carl Soderman has his first evasion of this year's World Championship. And Hollywood lead.
There it was, Dan. The change of direction is phenomenal. That back pedal we did on the front line was fantastic to be able to project that I'm going to go forward, telegraph that movement, and then just back straight out of there, and then get those strides across the sisters to finish off and get that evasion. Fantastic work by Kyle.
1-0 to Hollywood as they look to maintain their perfect start to their title defense. They will not add to it there. Thumbs up from Soderman, who did not like how he hit the sisters there, but he will be happy that he's put his team 1-0 up.
Yeah, Yvel pressuring him into a bit of a dodgy escape. Kyle mucking that up, coming over the sisters and stumbling a little bit with a quick bang. But Yvel doing really well to get that Viper under the tilted cube to make the pressure that put Kyle in that awkward position.
Hollywood
Carson Palmer. Oh, look at that. Well, let it not be said, he's not going to wait all the time. If the chance is there to be taken, he will take it early.
Yeah, and I think that's what you got to count on. Like, players can't always be playing in one style or the other, Dan. Sometimes it's about speed and intimidation. Sometimes it's about patience and tactician. But being able to mix up styles and keep yourself unpredictable is what keeps you fresh and allows you to get those tags. And more importantly, keep you unpredictable for those evasions.
Dimitri. Can he get hold of Carson here? If Carson Palmer can get the evasion, it'll double their lead, and Hollywood are almost home and hosed with a perfect opening day in their title defense. He swings off that pole of the loading bay. There's a claim of a snipe tag, but I don't think that Carson Palmer even registered it, but he'll register that one all right.
Viper attempt on the loading bay, but not quite making it, but then there we get a big dive out of the tilted cube. A bit of a slam for Dimitri's, but he got his man. Carson expecting the time to have already run out by the looks of it. When he was running, he had a quick clock check after he got tagged to see what shouldn't have been an evasion, but I think Dimitri had managed to get a nice clean tag there. Yeah, a little bit of confusion on Carson's face.
In comes Kai Baldwin, the Renaissance man. He sings, he dances, he produces, he does everything, and he's the world's best chase tag athlete, and he's just made the tag there.
Oh my God! Look at that spider! He just completely nullified all of the tilted cube's EQ. It looked like there was nothing there. Open ground tag basically made against Dimitri there. Just being able to cut in every footstep, every slide, meaning those bars mean nothing to Kai, and he's able to get his man at the back there by the tilted cube.
Can Kai Baldwin complete the perfect day for Hollywood Freerunners? 4 wins out of 4 as they start the defense of their world title here in France. He jumps up and he nearly has a horrible collision on the mountain. The tag was made. It was more a case of making sure he didn't lose his nose or some teeth on the next bit of the mountain.
Good save on the chest catch on that second version of a mountain there by Kai. He looks good. He's putting thumbs up. He's checking in with the fans. He looks fresh as he can be after a big slam like that. Between that and his big slam earlier on his back, he has put his body on the line today.
Yeah, there's been no holding back from Kai Baldwin, has there, in this opening day?
And it looks here like the ref is actually getting involved in this last play. And it looks like we might have Oh, we've got decision here. Johan is coming onto the chaser plate to deliver a yellow card. This is for dangerous play. Although it was a tag, there was a push made mid-air, which looks like it could have been held back by Staz.
Well, I don't know. It seemed harsh to me, but the ref's decision is the ref's decision. And more importantly, Staz is on the quad, and if he evades Carl Soderman here, we've got a level game, we're going sudden death. Can Carl Soderman win it for Hollywood Freerunners? Oh, yes, he can! Carl Soderman completes the job for Hollywood Freerunners, who win it by 1-0 and make it 4 wins out of 4 on the opening day of their title defense. They heavily used some of their stars. Kai Baldwin put his body on the line. Carl Soderman managed to get an evasion and a number of crucial tags. But Hollywood Freerunners make it 4 wins out of 4. And we're going to head down to the quad where Greg Ball is with Kai Baldwin and Amos Rendau of Hollywood Freerunners after the perfect start to their title defense.
Thank you very much, Dan. Listen, I'm here with Amos and Kai. Well, that was an absolutely perfect start to Group 1, right? How are you guys feeling about the 4 victories that you've had now so far today?
Yeah, that's about how we planned the first day, and it feels really good. How do you feel?
They were really hardly fought. The level of chase tag has improved so much. I'm so grateful to be here. Sorry, I'm so boring, but like it was killer. It was
also,
killer chase tag.
No easy matches. Big respect to every team we played today.
Well, that was going to be one of my other questions, is who has surprised you the most? Now that the match against Fakaw in particular was quite dicey at the end of it.
I actually feel like Nimbus has surprised us the most.
Yeah. By far. Way to go, Nimbus. Amazing performance. The Fakaw boys, we knew were going to be some of the top in the sport. We knew it. They're amazing. They're amazing. So Nimbus has come through in an amazing way.
Sure. Now tell us, 2 injuries, both under the mountain, ending in a yellow card for the second one. How are you?
I'm okay, I think. We'll see after the adrenaline wears off and everything, but I couldn't breathe fully for a little bit after that first one, but I'm feeling good now. And that one, you know, those tags are so difficult. You really want to follow through. And so I get it from his side, but I'm glad I didn't hit my chest or anything. I'm feeling good.
Yeah, for sure. Look, well, that's you guys done for today. QM tomorrow. And next up, we see Fakaw again. Thank you, guys.
There we go. Battered, bruised, but victorious. Kai Baldwin and Hollywood Freerunners have won all 4 of their games today. They will return tomorrow for their final group game, but it's pretty much done. You are going to be seeing Hollywood in the semi-finals. Let's show you the table, because things have gone about as well as they wanted. A 5-point lead over Nimbus in second place. However, there's a very real chance that Nimbus will not be in second place come the end of this final game of the session. Fakaw versus Rooftop Kings. In fact, they're guaranteed not to be second, because whatever result we have here, somebody is going to move into second place above Nimbus. But will it be Fakaw of France, or will it be Rooftop Kings? Connor, what we thought would happen has happened in that Hollywood are top of the group at the end of this session. But we always knew it was going to be a dogfight for that second spot. This is massive.
Yeah, big prediction for Hollywood to come in and do what they do best. They've got too many star players to fight against. But now we are seeing Fakaw, the local homegrown talent of Paris, up against Rooftop Kings from Rotterdam. But Fakaw are entering the stadium now, and it is getting wild in here. Elliot, Esteban, Roger, all of Fakaw jumping in, Antoine, everyone is ready to throw down and see what can happen on this, the last match of Group A for the World Championship, WCT7.
Yeah, the last match of this session. It'd be really interesting tomorrow for those final round of games, because Fakaw will play Nimbus and Rooftop Kings up against Fata Morgana, who we've just seen run Hollywood Freerunners close. They only lost by 1 point, so there's still going to be an awful lot to play for, irrespective of how this game goes. But it will have a massive, massive influence on who will come second in the group, or is very, very likely to. We are underway with the final game of the session. That was the buzzer, but it looks like... I mean, no, wow, now he's wasted 5-6 seconds there, Red One, and he's got to make up for it. Antoine onto the chase. That is a chase where one guy wouldn't leave the chaser's plate, and then one guy went straight there and couldn't get off it.
And under panic, Antoine has just gone full homing pigeon and ran back to Mummy, straight back to his team to figure out what's what. I reckon that should have been the best chance for an evasion that you had right there, offered up to the plate. Red One's fumbled, and Antoine's fumbled even harder.
Well, our referee is stepping in. Oh, they're going to replay the check. Well, I tell you what, look, I suppose the massive advantage that Antoine had, he has not made use of it, but Red One is not particularly pleased, understandably. He's given his man a 6-second head start. He still made the tag.
He still went for it, to be fair. Red One has got some great sportsmanship there to be able to say, like, look, okay, I've killed some time. I wasn't paying attention. People were cheering. I didn't realize we started. So therefore, all right, why not? 6 seconds in, I'm going to give it my best shot anyway. I like that. That earns some respect from the crowd, from the competitors. Red One is doing his best. Looks like it was a disadvantaged situation for Red One. Head ref Johan has decided that although it was a disadvantaged situation, he's made the most of it. And they've got through that tag. Antoine fumbling it has given Red One now an opportunity to have an advantage. And now he's gone from tagger to evader.
Common sense prevailing in that one, I think. Red One made life difficult for himself and still got out of it. It would have been a strange one if Fakaw had been given another shot at getting an evasion, but Red One can't make that count, and it is 0-0 after the first couple of chases. Luke Yang getting the job done.
Yeah, you just got to think, if you're Red One right now, coming back to your team, you got to shake that off. You're a team captain, you got to keep your composure, you got to make sure your head's still in the game. Bit of a weird start, but he made the most of it. Now he needs to freshen up and make sure he can make the right calls to put the right people on that chase plate.
Ben Van Hoff into the action in this crucial and final game of the session. Luke Yang spins round at the base of the mountain, now goes back under the mountain. Bent is after him, and that long arm manages to make contact with the shoulder.
Great descent by Bent from the mountain, being able to hold that hand down the mountain to push himself down. Once your feet reach the ground, that's when you can accelerate. The whole time you're in the air, you are just waiting on gravity. So being able to get to the ground and then speed up allowed him to get Luke there by the tilted cube.
Athletes ready!
In comes Esteban, the team captain for Fakaw, and that is, well, Ben knew it was coming, it's just in case it went.
One shoulder and then the second shoulder, just in case. Esteban setting himself up, getting Bent off of the quad, and now we got Largo from rooftops. We're still on 0-0 in this chase 5 now, setting up for a full 16 chases. We need to start seeing some points on the board, or we're going to go to sudden death, and that will not be advantageous for either team at this point.
Well, it's the final game of the session at least. They know it's all or nothing as far as today is concerned. They can go all out in this game, and they may need to, because it will have a huge influence on who can get out the group. Largo trying to find an opportunity. Esteban round the front line, over to the sisters. Largo cuts the corner, and there's a dive. He's out the quad. He's claiming the tag. Is that the first point?
Yeah, Esteban not really showing signs of whether or not that was a tag. I don't know if he's deciding yes or no. It doesn't look like he's disputing it necessarily, but it does look like Largo was sure he made the tag on this dive here. And it cost him something too. Obviously, he's gone for that tag, and then he slammed into the border, flipped outside of the quad. And it looks like tag given. Nice and clear. Don't need to go to DTR. No dispute was made. Esteban stepped off. Largo's still on. And now Luke is stepping up. Sorry, Roger is stepping up onto the chaser plate there for Fakaw.
Nice quick decision. We are back on with the game. Largo starting very near the front line. Back to Roger. And off he hops. And hops up onto the mountain. Another idle on top of the mountain. Then he comes down the other side to the loading bay. He goes over the ridge, but loses his footing. And Roger's right there to capitalize.
Yeah, it's always hard, Dan. When we're looking at that high wall at the back of the ridge, we've got some options. Obviously, going under it is fast, but it's predictable. Going over it gives you not that much advantage unless it's the last few seconds of the match. You need to save that for your evasion, sort of dive away from your player. Other than that, mounting it maybe and coming back across the front line might be something, but it's not giving that many options. He should have sprinted underneath it.
Dan Van Dissel into the action. We are still scoreless in this one. as Roger goes between the sisters, goes down low towards the tilted cube. Dan is up on the tilted cube, but he can't find a way to make a move. And there's a dive, and the tag was made. It remains at 0-0.
Yeah, Roger there using really good scrambling ability to keep the cover and keep obstacles between him and Dan Van Dissel. However, Dan, once he's able to transition out of an obstacle, has got that acceleration to catch up on him there. We got him across the middle of the court, a little bit of scrambling, and then he's entered this obstacle, flushed him out by getting a little bit closer on the tilted cube before getting the tag at the end.
Esteban back into the action. Up onto the ridge, flushing his man out. Spiders his way through the loading bay. Now up onto the tilted cube. Uses the sisters and makes his move, and makes his move well.
Strong ridge game there by Esteban. I think this is going to be a decisive factor when it comes to the semi-finals as well. So who can handle the ridge and who can't? Esteban made short work of this EQ obstacle by being able to just mount the top, get his feet right so he can get down to the ground and continue that acceleration. Flushed out from the ridge super quickly, which gave him more time to get the tag later on.
Esteban Nogueira, the halfway point of this game, spins around, and he just a little juke there. Bent can't make contact. This could be a big moment in this game. He keeps looking over his shoulder, and he keeps seeing the Dutchman right there, and he's right there again.
Strong start to that match there. Esteban really putting on the guns. The speed that he hit the sister's stride was crazy, so crazy. In fact, hitting the border at the back by the tilted cube, moved the whole quad by the time he got there. Crazy speed, seeing it happen, but that tag being made there at the loading bay was a great little threaded tag by Rooftop Kings.
It's a tight one, this. It's a nervy one, and the stakes are high. Antoine Crepin into the action, moving fluidly through the quad, through those obstacles, and makes the tag. Once again, we are seeing players frustrated, and the score remaining at 0-0.
0-0 coming up, chase 11. We're coming into the final chases of this match, and we're still hitting 0-0. Antoine is going to have to make some moves, and we got Red One for the second time now, stepping up on that chaser play. Hopefully, he's got a little bit of a clearer go. Antoine, it's a revenge match between these two. Let's see what they can do to run it back.
Well, first things first, he's managed to set off at the start of the buzzer, so he's not at a disadvantage. He managed to get Antoine relatively straightforwardly, but with more time, he is taking his time. But is he taking too much time? Is he taking too much time? He's claiming the tag. There might not be another chance. There might not be another chance. Antoine spreads his arms. Red One is adamant he made contact.
Antoine celebrating there, absolutely sure that he has got that evasion, happy with the movement, unsure where the tag even happened, whereas Red One's certain that there was a tag earlier on in the match. DTR being called. Fair play, Red One still making it all the way around, trying to get that tag, trying to get the spider, and there's a handshake from the boys on the quad. But we've got Johan, our head ref, reviewing that footage, seeing if that tag was made in the center.
Well, you can hear what the French fans think of it. They don't think there was contact. No! He's given tag. He's given tag.
Head ref.
He's given tag. Antoine was celebrating. The fans were celebrating because they thought it was evasion, but it's very, very quickly been given as a tag. It remains at 0-0.
And still hitting 0-0. We got Luke stepping up to the mark, ready to chase down. This is the same style player as Red One. Let's see what they can do. Quick footwork is away.
Approaching the final quarter of this game. It is deadlocked at 0-0. So important for the destiny of this group and these two teams. And Red One round the outside, up onto the sisters, and Luke is all over it.
Yeah, Red One there looking for that double ghost, doubling back under the sisters. He would have loved to have cut back under the sisters. However, Luke had just closed down that distance too close to him to be able to make any moves. At that point, if Red One had known where his man was, he should have carried on sprinting and get past the tilted cube. Hard to do. Luke's incredibly fast, and he's got that high, quick footwork across the front line to catch up to you.
A couple of speedsters here. Dan Van Dissel looking to get after Luke. Yeah. Luke going by the front line. Let's see how quick you are. He's too quick for Dan. Luke couldn't maintain the speed there, but he gets him under the mountain.
It's not necessarily that he's too quick, Dan. The speed is there. It's just he's not willing to dive from the top of that front line all the way down to get the tag. He could have rugby tackled him from above, because he was right there. The man was out there to grab him. They would have sent both players slamming to the ground, and we don't need any more dangerous play, yellow cards being played in this tournament.
Team captain in again for Fakaw. You can feel the room willing the Parisians to get this job done. And the tag is made by Esteban. It's made in less than 8 seconds. Now, can the captain go on and win this game? It is match point for Fakaw. Yet to see an evasion in this one. If Esteban produces it, the game is done.
And still sitting at 0-0. Both of these teams are hunting for the win. They do not want the draw. They don't want it to go to sudden death. They want to get the win on the board.
Esteban is the chant from the French fans. Largo, the man, trying to stop him. Esteban by the lazy boy in the front line. Largo's turning it into a race. He throws himself at him and makes the tag. And now it swings around the other way, where Largo has a chance to win the match for Rooftop Kings.
Oh, wow, look at this. Largo putting out his hand for a little handshake for Esteban. Esteban denying it. Not going to happen. And try number 2. Oh! There it is.
Bold move against the home team.
Play with fire, get burnt. That's how it's going to work today.
Well, they've just sent in Esteban straight away to get the tag. And is he going to get the tag? It looked like he was right there to be tagged, but he does get in this time. Oh, a little bit of needle. This is what we like.
That's gotta hurt. Largo getting sent off, Esteban getting that secure tag, which means we need to get to sudden death. 0-0. I knew this would be tight. Wasn't sure how tight it would be. Fakaw and Rooftop Kings, they seem very evenly matched, Dan.
Both get a point. This sudden death, longest evasion wins, gets an extra bonus point. And whatever happens here, it is going to be so tight in this group. It is going to go down to the final round of games when Fakaw will face Nimbus and Rooftop Kings will face Fata Morgana to kick off tomorrow's evening session. But this point, this sudden death chase-off, could be absolutely pivotal. Who do they pick? They've just had Esteban in for the last 2 chases. He may be their go-to guy, but do they really want to use him here, Connor?
Antoine, they've got to use Antoine. If I am Fakaw, I'm sending in one of my more aggressive players, and they have chose Esteban. Looks like he's still got fresh legs.
My word.
Early on in the tournament, I would have expected him to pick Esteban. At this stage, in their last game of today, I assume he's just going to put everything on the line to get the quickest tag possible for Fakaw.
A fresh Cone 10 Hegeler. This is the 4th chase in a row for Esteban, the Fakaw captain. Can this crowd inspire him? Get the energy in the legs to get this done quickly. He's off. Cone through the mountain. Esteban up on the tilted cube. Cone over the sisters, round by the front line. He's trying to get away. He's got the pace. Has he got the legs? He's under the mountain. He's going to set a good time. He could set the best time. He could set the best time. He's on the floor. Does it matter? No, it doesn't. A tie and dive from Esteban Nogueira. And is it a tactical, strategic problem? A mistake that Fakaw have made?
You cannot be using player after player, but you've got to give it to Kuhn to keep that composure. There was a couple of stumbles there. There was a couple of missed tag opportunities by Esteban. That's got to put the pressure on Kuhn. So for him to be able to pull out of the bag and take home that extra sudden death point, fair play. They took that all the way to evasion, which has put them in the best possible position right now for them to take home this game. Roger being picked for Fakaw as their evading opportunity, and Dan Van Dissel is there on the chase plate.
Well, we're just checking because I thought it was the full evasion, but they're just double checking to make sure it wasn't there wasn't a tag at say 19 seconds. I don't believe there was, but they do need to check. Obviously, this is really important. However, whether it's 18 or 19 or the full 20. Then it is absolutely massive. If it is the full 20 seconds, then all Roger can do here is go for a full evasion, something they've not managed to do all game against Rooftop Kings, and then we would have another round of sudden death chase-offs.
We've come to a decision here. We got Johan stepping up to the mark. Oh, quick little check with technical to make sure his decision is correct. He's got to run this past multiple referees, make sure the video is good, make sure we got the right intel, and then he's going to make a decision based on that.
What's the verdict? Well, it is the full evasion. That's what we thought.
That's
so it is 20
thought.
seconds.
Yeah.
And so Roger Maurice Gallaté must evade for the full 20 seconds. And that would force another round of sudden death. Otherwise, Rooftop Kings are going to take the bonus point. Daan van Dissel. Any kind of tag within the 20 will do. Roger over the sisters, and that will do it, and Rooftop Kings take the point. Esteban Nogueira and this Fakaw team on home soil may have just committed a fatal error by relying on their captain over and over and over again at the back end of the match. He looked shattered for the sudden death, and maybe it's a fatal mistake that may cost them a chance to play in the semi-finals. It is not done and dusted yet, but Greg Ball is down quad side. Hopefully he's going to be grabbing both the captains from Rooftop Kings and Fakaw. Greg, go and get us some answers, my man.
Thank you very much, Dan. I really do appreciate it. We're going to get joined by Red One now. First and foremost, who's just won that intense game and the last game of today. How do you feel your team did in this match and over the course of the day as well?
Bro, at first it was just the nerves we needed to get out. But after, when we finally got into the rhythm, it was hard, to be honest. It was really hard, yeah. It was difficult. But alhamdulillah, we did it. So I'm thankful to Allah, to God. And yeah, hopefully we will go through tomorrow.
Well, that's it. It's all going to come down tomorrow because it was such a tight matchup. I have to ask you the difficult question now. Do you support your decision to take the last match yourself?
Yeah, of course, every decision has to be taken, and as a captain, I have to do that. It's part of the plan. Unfortunately, I didn't manage my nutrition well enough, so I came in this match with really, really low energy. But I did my best, and I think no one in the team was ready for this kind of pressure, and it's part of my role of captain. So I'm 100% happy with this decision, and well done to them. They played really well, and no problem.
Good. Well, thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Before he leaves, I want to squash one thing for now and for always. Lago! Kom hier alsjeblieft.
We're going to get in the middle of it now.
Shake each other's hand. Shake each other's hand.
Well, you've seen it here first, guys. Thank you very much. Great sportsmanship. Great teamwork. Thank you all very much for coming out for this session. We'll be back in 2 hours' time for Group B, and we'll see you all then.
Well, there you go. We did get a handshake between them, but I'm sure there was a death stare that went with that handshake as well. Let's show you the confirmation of all the results we've seen so far in the Group A action to kick off this year's World Championship. Because it all started with Nimbus, with that fascinating contest against Quality Movement, where Quality Movement led at one point, only for Nimbus to turn things around. We've seen Hollywood Freerunners go on and win every single one of their games. And then we have seen this fascinating battle for second spot because Nimbus, Rooftop Kings, and indeed Fakaw are still in the hunt. We have another round of games to go. Just one more game for each team. Hollywood Freerunners, who've won every game, will take on Quality Movement, who have lost all of their games. We think that's a done deal. Hollywood are going to top the group, whatever happens. But Fakaw versus Nimbus, and then Rooftop Kings versus Fata Morgana. There is so much riding on those games. There we go. That's confirmation of all the results. You can see the Nimbus versus Quality game kicked things off. It was the highest scoring game that we had. But then we've also had some sudden death wins. Nimbus coming through. Frank Mejia, how important was he in those sudden deaths, Connor?
Yeah, bulletproof. If you're going to send someone in under a high-pressure situation like these sudden deaths, you want to make sure they are going to get it done. Pushing through all of the bars, putting the pressure on, make sure there's intimidation there. I was really impressed, not just with Frank, but also Mark Bowles and the whole team being able to tie together and keep it calm when things got a little bit chaotic and make the good plays and make the good decisions.
Yeah, these sudden death bonus points could be absolutely pivotal. Let's show you the standings at the end of this session with every team having one more game to play. Because Hollywood Freerunners are on top. They are way clear. They are going to top the group irrespective of what happens tomorrow in the final round of group games. But it could barely be any tighter, could it? Because Fakaw, Nimbus, Rooftop Kings, only a point separate those three. It could come down to evasion difference, and you can see how vital those bonus points in the sudden death victories have been already, and we could see more tomorrow when those 3 teams are all playing their final group stage games. We are done and dusted in session 1 here at Les Arènes in Auvry-Courcouronnes. That is Group A, 4 games down, 1 more to come. Tonight, join us in less than 2 hours because we have the back-to-back French champions, the number 2 team in the world, Parkour 59. We've got the American champions, Nix. We've got more French representation in the Crow. We've got some Americans in Dexterity Depot. We've got the Brits in Eugen, and all the way from China, the multiple national champions, Parkour Man, battling it out. We'll see you here in less than 2 hours' time for Group B, the WCT7 World Chase Tag World Championship. Keep chasing and don't get caught.